Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with Jeff, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. And today it's Monday, May 13th. And we have some breaking news that we get to discuss. We're going to do it on today's show. That's Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions coming into agreement.
Beautiful day.
For contract extension. We have it, fellas. We talked about Amon-Ra's, talked about Panay's, and we've been talking about Jared's for a while now. We're going to break it all down to us for everyone today. And we have Kory Woods joining the show. All right, so Kory Woods, who covers the Pistons, God help him, and the Lions for MLive. He'll be
Should
joining
have just
program.
left that one out just for the moment.
Yeah, well, hey, man, grind.
Shout out Kory, though.
Well, at least
Yeah,
his day did get better because, what was it, yesterday?
grinder.
Lottery happened, or was it Saturday?
It was yesterday. We're not going to spend
Don't
time
need to talk
today.
about
We got
it.
Jared Goff to get to, of course.
Better team in town.
Fella, how? And I put a poll in the chat for the people. Just get a quick kind of feel out for how everyone's feeling. It seems like majority of Lions fans are all on board. I put out a video today, which you guys can check out. It's on our channel, me breaking down, not the terms, which we'll get into in a little bit. Terms aren't officially out, but just what it means for the Lions. And there you go. Booner's got his glasses on, so he's locked in. Okay, stop toying with it. All right, there you go.
It's like, what's going on here?
All right, how we feeling today, boys? Big day. Big day.
Can't wipe the smile off my face after this weekend, and we'll get into it. But I had an interesting reaction to the contract extension, but I'm happy it got done. The bottom line was the contract extension needed to get done, and it did. So I'm happy after seeing the news.
Mm-hmm. Boone's glasses are on, so he's
I just want to say one thing, fellas. I've been saying this all along to the people who hate Jared Goff, who the people want to say negative things. Get used to that man's name. And I told you this for 8-9 months. He's going to be in Detroit for a very, very long time. And guess what happened today? I told you guys last Thursday, 4-year deal. That man's in Detroit for the least minimum 4 seasons as your franchise quarterback. That man is back. I don't care what the price is. I don't care what it is. That's all going to take care of itself. You know what this means, fellas? You
What
just
does it
signed
mean?
this contract. There better be a Super Bowl and a Lombardi Trophy in the city of Detroit within the next 4 seasons. That is a guarantee it's going to happen. You sign a quarterback to money like that for 4 or 5 years, you go get us a Super Bowl. Give me a Lombardi Trophy. The Booner Path, this is a win for the Booner Path. When you sign a quarterback like this, that's won a lot of football games. All that means is the Booner Path will end with the Lombardi Trophy. That's all I know that's going to happen.
yeah.
We have a Lombardi coming our way.
Yeah, that's why you play the game. And I mentioned this in the video today. Provide stability for this franchise, and I think that's what you have with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. And you get to re-sign Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's locked up, which the contract doesn't even start yet. He's still on his rookie contract. Penei Sewell locked up, and his extension doesn't even start yet. He's still on his rookie contract. He has to get to that 5th-year option. And now they lock up Jared Goff. So they put a lot of money in players that they believe are their core foundation. We knew it was coming. We knew the contract was coming. It's not about a surprise it was done. We're going to get into maybe the intricacies of the contract, even though we don't have the details. And I want to make that very clear. When people see a number initially at AAV, right, $53 million annually, that's what you initially see, but you have to wait for more of the details. What I look at is the guaranteed money. And I want to pull up the guaranteed money. And just to give people, if you didn't see the news, the Detroit Lions signed Jared Goff to a 4-year, $212 million extension, including $170 million guaranteed. He is the highest paid player in franchise history. All right. So we'll go and we'll look at Jeremy Reisman's tweet he put out, kind of putting into context some of the other guaranteed money with guaranteed money amongst other quarterbacks in the NFL. So Jeremy Reisman from Pride of Detroit put out this little nugget here. The reported $170 million in guarantees on Goff's contract ranks 6th among current NFL quarterback contracts. He's behind Deshaun Watson, who got, I think, every penny guarantee. I think he got a fully guaranteed or most of that.
Or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, and then you have Joe Burrow with $219 million guaranteed, Justin Herbert with $193.7 million guaranteed, Lamar Jackson with $185 million guaranteed, Jalen Hurts with $179 guaranteed. So you look at all those quarterbacks. Yeah, Jared Goff would rank he said 6th among these guys. So at least in guaranteed money, it's not the end of the world. I mean, Deshaun Watson getting a fully guaranteed or mostly guaranteed contract, that's a whole nother thing. And Booner, you mentioned this, and I'll let you kind of speak on this a little bit here. The 3rd year, it was technically four away, but 3rd year in that contract.
Yep.
there is a potential out of that deal.
Yeah, I mean, the contract details haven't came out yet, and I think too, you mentioned a little bit, Jeff. It's going to be interesting to see if they, backload this whole deal and like what they end up doing, because then you start talking about this year's cap hit, and then if you get more cap space for even this season, you can go out and get more free agents and go out there and make some more moves. So like this contract can move a lot of things around in the next couple of years, and then when it does come to that, and Jeff, Lucas, you remember I talked about this last week, was typically you see quarterbacks sign 4-year deals and you get that 3rd-year opt-out option. And that's, to be a little bit more flexible. And obviously for Jared Goff, he still has 1 year on his deal. So that makes it essentially he has 5 years left. And after this, in 4 seasons, in 2027, at the end of the 2027 season, you're going to sit there and he's going to have that option to, they're going to be able to opt in or opt out, kind of move on from him, or if they want to extend him again. So I think that's pretty flexible, fellas. And when you really do break it down, like if we're talking numbers and we're going all the way into this and you want to really break this down, because the biggest thing I saw on the negative side here with Jared Goff is obviously people see 53 million and first thing they think is, oh my God, like that's an insane number. Why would they do that? They just bankrupt. First of all, settle down. Settle down. 53 million. Let's break this down real quick. So right now, what? He's the second average per year for a quarterback, correct? 6 most guaranteed. Let's talk about who else is going to sign an extension most likely this summer. And the fact that Detroit Lions were essentially the very first team within this quarterback extension summer. Usually with a year left on a contract, you're going to extend your quarterback. Guess who's going to come after this? Dak Prescott, who's going to get more than him. Jordan Love, who have to sign more than him. Another NFC North team are going just because you just signed this $53 million deal. Guess what you did? You just gave the Packers GM. He's going to have to probably go through hell with Jordan Love now, because Jordan Love's going to say, he just got 53 million. This is what my potential is. And people say my ceiling's higher. Go give me 55 and 60 million. So Jordan Love's going to get paid this summer. Dak Prescott's going to get 60 million this summer. Guess who else is due? Tua Tagovailoa. He's due.
That man's going to get more than Goff, too.
He's going to get 55 million now. So all these things are happening in all these contracts, not counting even this year. Let me go to 2025, next year. Quarterbacks who are going to be due for an extension next year. Brock Purdy, San Francisco. He's going to be asking for Jared Goff numbers. Trevor Lawrence, if he has a year this year, he's going to be asking for Jared Goff numbers. Aaron Rodgers, if he wants to continue playing football, it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't care how old he is. I'm sure he's going to go out there and say, I want some money. So Jared Goff's going to move down this list. By the end of this summer, I don't even think he'll probably be the second most average per year. He's probably going to be the 5th and 6th most going into this season. And then next year, he's going to be down probably outside the top 10 when it comes to quarterbacks getting paid. And then the year after that, it's going to happen again. And that's not even counting some quarterbacks, some of these big time quarterbacks who want to kind of renegotiate deals when even they're not due for an extension. They're going to sit there and say, hey, I want to renegotiate. I just saw Jared Goff get 53 million. They're going to want more than that. And they're going to want to jump him. Joe Burrow, players like that. So I think what they did in doing it before all these other quarterback signings is ideal. Now I'm interested in, I don't know when it gets released, and maybe we can ask Kory that, is when the numbers do get released, if it's going to be a backloaded deal, front-loaded, how they're going to go about doing that, especially with the other 2 contracts that they extended this summer as well. So I'm all in on this deal. You guys know me. I've been in on Jared Goff for the last year here and saying, let's just get this deal done and move on from it before all these other quarterbacks get signed. And that's what Brad did. I trust Brad all the way too, by the way. Like, I think what he did is perfect. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to throw a dumb contract out there, and he's not going to do something that he doesn't think is the right way to go about it.
What you think, Klotzy? Because I got the data here for the salary cap, but I'll get to it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much else to say outside. It's more than I expected with Jared Goff. I didn't think he was going to get up to 53. I was going to think anywhere between 49 and 52, but I'm not going to bitch over $1 million. Like, let's be honest. And not to mention the points what Booner brought up, the quarterbacks that are yet to still sign, and not to mention the cap's going to increase every year. So when you look back in 3 years, $53 million, and I know that's not what it's going to be annually when it goes down the road, like you were saying, Jeff, but this is not going to be a contract that holds back the Lions in any means. And at the end of the day, if Jared Goff were to, knock on wood, just absolutely capsize and just become a player that he's not right now, I don't think there's teams that would be like, no way, we're not taking Jared Goff for $53 million. Like, that's a contract where if you need to break the emergency glass and trade him, I still think you could as well. So I don't think they're committed to him and just where there's no other option but to win with Jared Goff. Which I'm
look at
confident
this. I mean, look at this tweet. This just shows the salary cap in the NFL the last 14 seasons. I mean, go back to 2011, it was $120 million. And it's basically doubled since then. I mean, last year it was 250, or it's projected to be, or it is now in 2024, but 255 million. Last year it was 224. So the cap is going to only continue to go up.
Yep.
Wow. Hold on. We got to get to
big one.
Dante
Big
151.
one.
We appreciate the Crunch Time membership. 3 months.
Dante.
Wow, that went by fast. And then Coach Walk just dropped in a 50 bomb.
Fucking goat, man.
Coach, hold on, Coach. I mean, what a way to start a Monday. Coach Walk, he says it's Monday. Life is good. Golf got extended. Pause. Show Reese boys love. FTP, FTB, even if Jeff is a Caleb meat rider. Coach Walk, we
Talk, man.
I had to sneak into Caleb's.
it wouldn't be a Coach Walk super chat without it. We appreciate you a ton. Thank you so much.
And shout out Coach Walk too, real quick. I did some behind the scenes Jared Goff negotiating. There's rumors Brad Holmes used the Booner tactic. We're going into this conference room. We're locking you in there until this deal gets done. We're not coming out until this deal is over with. So,
and here's the thing. Before we get Kory on, because Kory, I'm very excited. He's well connected, very smart dude, and I'm curious what he thinks. When you look at this contract, Brad Holmes specifically, when he went on 97.1, what did he say that, remember I told you guys stood out the most to me is, yes, me and Dan are still focused on how we can keep this window open, how we can keep the Lions as contenders. So when he says that before the contract details were announced or the agreement was announced, I'm thinking, okay, whatever happens, I think Brad's going to have that in mind. He's going to think about that. So when I see this deal, that's why even for me, who, a guy who likes Hendon Hooker, I want to see what they have in Hendon Hooker. Yeah. But at the same time, I understand Brad Holmes, his perspective. You got to get this deal done. And I don't overreact with the details. I'm waiting for those to come out. That's what matters to me. Is it backloaded? How is the contract structured? There's going to be opportunities to be restructured, so on and so forth. Like, I know you say this a lot, Boone, but I'm saying it today. Got to trust Brad Holmes on this.
Trust him.
You have to. I see a lot of people, overpay. He doesn't. I think in their mind, they're still thinking about Goff, what he was before Detroit, which I understand why there'd be skepticism. The 2-year stretch he had in LA and he wasn't playing well. But the last 2 years, man, he's been one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFC. Maybe not the year Hurts, they went to the Super Bowl, but he was 2 that year. And he was one of the best last year.
And real quick,
he's played at a high level. You got to give him a deal. You can't look at Goff and say, hey, man, you got to play this year out with no contract. Like, what kind of message does that send to the locker room? Like, it's just, you got to get this done. Now, 4 years was more than I preferred. But at the end of the day, like Lukas said, what I say, 2 to 3, it's one more year. It is what it is.
Last point with that, I just want to follow with that is a lot of people just look at the second, he has the second highest average between quarterbacks. That's the only thing. That's literally the only thing I think people look at is, he's the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now. You have to let this whole thing play out because Brad's going through about this probably the smartest way possible to where this contract's going to look nice in about a year or two. And I trust in Brad a lot. You've seen him make moves and you see a lot of people on the internet. We want Danielle Hunter. We want this. We want that. And Brad's been very, very calculated as he moves around all of this, building this football team. So I trust this contract.
Well, let's bring in someone who's well connected. A good man who joins the show. He's a good friend of mine, good friend of ours. That's Mr. Kory Woods. Kory!
Let's go.
The Detroit Pistons and the Detroit Lions for M Live. And he is here.
What's going on?
To give some insight to this golf contract. Kory, I need your thoughts. I know you probably put them to not literal paper, but on M Live. People can read it, check it out. Links will be in the description. But what was your initial reaction? I feel like when contracts get signed, you're on the show. Like, I don't know. It's just how it happens. What'd you think of the Goff deal? I know the details aren't out, but what does this mean for the Lions going forward?
First off, I thought it was a smart deal. It was brilliant to go ahead and get it done. I thought they would have gotten it done a lot sooner, but once we saw, and I'm going to get into this a little bit more, once we saw Kirk Cousins get his deal with the Atlanta Falcons, I'm like, okay, I don't see the Lions making it to training camp and Goff does not have a deal because that number is only going to go up the more they continue to win moving forward. So I figured that this was going to be a deal they got done before the season, and rightfully so, because Jared Goff has earned it. Whether you love him, like him, love him or hate him, he earned the money. I mean, you gotta, and then you guys said something very interesting when you were talking about his last couple of years in Los Angeles not being so pleasant. not only was Jared Goff banged up, but so were a lot of the players there. And the one thing that I also remember about Jared Goff's exit is Jared Goff won a playoff game with damn near a broken thumb.
Yep.
So that we have to keep that into perspective as well. People like to have this, and I'm not saying people, not saying you guys, it's just this whole social media world. Well, things have to be perfect for Jared Goff to win. This has to go right. This has to go right. You can say that just about 23 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
There's only a handful of quarterbacks where if things go wrong, they can go out there themselves and win you a game. A Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. If you want to throw Josh Allen or Justin Herbert in there, cool. CJ Stroud, it's only his first year last year. We're seeing the talent, though, of what he could possibly do. There is not that many quarterbacks out there you can just say go win a game with everything going wrong. So I don't understand. I never understood that mindset of things have to go right for Jared Goff. What sense does that make? Like, if you have a good quarterback, you want to surround him with talent so that he can be successful. That's the point. So I just never understood that. But here's what Jared Goff did with those things that Brad Holmes and company surrounded him with. Last season, he was second in passing yards, fourth in touchdowns, the 12 interceptions. It's not offensive. I do know the stretch he went through. He was not, from sources I heard, he was not feeling that well. Hence the alarming number of turnovers. But over those past 7 games, the last 7 games, that was 14 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Mm-hmm. He didn't throw a pick in the postseason. Yeah, 69% of his passes completed in the postseason. This guy won 2 home playoff games, something many have not seen in their entire lifetime. Got this franchise to the second NFC championship game. If things would have went their way, maybe some passes would have been caught, maybe a couple of stops. You're looking at the first Super Bowl run. Jared Goff did what you're supposed to do. Now you lock that guy up. You have a guy who not only performed, but he has the offense believing in him as well. You've seen Amon-Ra St. Brown lead a Jared Goff chant with over 200 and some odd thousand people on day one chanting this guy's name. What in the world are you going to get? Why would you not lock that up? I'm just saying, make it make sense, people. I know I'm rambling, but I really wanted to talk about this because I just see some of the stuff and it's mind-boggling. Like, well, we never get to see what Hendon Hooker's going to look like. The unknown is always sexy because it's unknown, but it's like, you ever know, like, I want to go get the hot girl. Then you get the hot girl and you're like, hey, she ain't really that hot.
Kind of stinks a little bit.
No disrespect to Hendon Hooker, but if you have a guy here is doing the job and doing what you want, why are you so fantasized about the unknown? Look, maybe everything Jared Goff doesn't look as a quarterback doesn't look as sexy as Lamar Jackson does or Patrick Mahomes does, but the numbers prove that it's effective, and the fact that the Lions were 2 quarters away from their first ever Super Bowl appearance proves that it's effective. So I'll let you guys. I'm off my little high horse for that for a quick second, but getting the deal done was just a no-brainer, and the money isn't offensive.
Look at that!
I love
Kory,
it,
man. Kory spitting, and like we always say on the show, man. Football's a team game until it isn't. I mean, until it doesn't fit your narrative, specifically. Go ahead, Boone.
Kory. So, and me and you, we're lockstep with this whole Goff day. There's so many people that are just slandering and going at the numbers, and even before, like, oh, wait till next year. I want to ask you this with Brad Holmes, because you're in the building a lot, especially around Brad. Do you kind of feel like now with Brad Holmes, he's signed, it feels like these building block and like foundation pieces, these 3 big names here that with Amon-Ra, Penei, and Goff? Does it feel like now it's like, all right, Brad, you got those guys done, the pressure's off, now it's like let's go build a football team and win a Super Bowl? Like, we've gotten our core foundation outside of maybe Hutch. We've got those guys locked in for long term now. Now we can just focus on building. We don't have to worry about maybe, like, at this point, like the fans and the Hendon Hooker talk. We don't have to worry about anything besides just putting guys around this foundation and going to win a Super Bowl. Do you think that pressure's like now off him and now he's just like, let's go?
Absolutely, because I mean, really, the only deal you would probably I would have to say concern yourself with in the near distant future would be a Liam McNeil, but that's you could get creative with that in a couple of different ways. But absolutely, you have the foundation core of you got your quarterback, you got your generational lineman, and you got arguably the hardest worker on the team and I guess you could say an unofficial mascot because a lot of people love St. Brown's and not just his swagger, but his overall mentality. And everybody else is just either young players on short deals, rookie deals, or veterans on very team-friendly deals. So this is right now a perfect situation for the Lions to capitalize on this window, and they don't really have to worry about anything. It's really a dream scenario for them.
Did you say it's Super Bowl? Is that what we're looking at now? Super Bowl.
I think at least after hitting the NFC Championship game, I'm going to just say this: you at least have to get back to that point. Then, because getting to the Super Bowl it has to be a goal. Obviously, it has to be a goal. I mean, I don't think these guys are putting their lives on the line to just get to the playoffs.
Let's get to the first round.
But yeah. So getting to the Super Bowl has to be a goal. But I think that getting back to that title game to right that wrong, that's going to be their first goal. Because I mean, if you get back to that title game, then you have a chance to compete for the Super Bowl. So I think their goal is getting back to the NFC Championship first.
Yeah, Kory, and you were just spitting. You were spitting about Jared and his production last year. How confident after signing this contract do you think you are that Jared can continue this play for the rest of that contract that he just signed?
I think as long as they keep those pieces around him and he stays healthy, I think he'll be able to play it out. I mean, we also got to think about this. Jared Goff is going to be just now turning 30 this fall. So he's not he's not that old by the quarterback years of what we've been seeing these guys playing right now. So I think as long as they keep him healthy and they keep these guys or keep some solid pieces around him, he'll be fine. And I'm not really worried about the whole, what if Ben Johnson leaves? I think Ben Johnson was just as good to Jared Goff as Jared Goff has been good to Ben Johnson. I think it's a mutually beneficial relationship because before Ben Johnson came along, he was a rather unknown to a lot of people, and people were wondering, well, why is this whole thing about Ben Johnson becoming the OC such a big deal? Then he becomes the OC. Oh, it's the greatest thing ever. So, I love how fans kind of get revisionist history with that kind of stuff. But I think it's good.
Yeah, and that is an interesting point you made there about Ben. I think that's like the last really part of this team where you kind of are expecting him to leave. The rest of it's there's continuity, and that now moving forward, which is the most important. You have those two rookies, or multiple rookies, but two rookie corners they drafted. I know they had mini camp. What are your thoughts on kind of Terrion Arnold as the pick? I know we talked to you, but now that he's officially a Lion and he's out there, he's playing. We'll see more of it in training camp. What are your thoughts on not only just Terrion, but also Ennis Rakestraw, the two rookie corners kind of hanging in? And what are some expectations for you moving forward for these guys?
First off, I got to give it to Brad. He's shown a tendency that if he wants somebody, he's going to go up and go get them. The fact that they didn't just stand pat when they could have, and they went up and go get Terrion Arnold, that shows you what they think about him as a playmaker and as a contributor to this defense. And then to go back again and get Ennis Rakestraw, to me, that showed a commitment that, look, we know what our secondary was last year. It was not great. We are going to overhaul that, and that is not going to be our Achilles heel going into this season. So A+ job to them because they did it in two different ways. They did it through free agency by getting Carlton Davis and Robertson, and they brought back Mosley. Hopefully he'll be able to be healthy and be a contributor this season because last season was just went bad for him. It was horrible. And then you go on ahead and get these two dogs out of college that already have a chip on their shoulder, especially Rakestraw. So what I mean, really, what more can you say? They've addressed their weaknesses. That's what teams are supposed to do in the offseason, and they did it in a very solid fashion that is not offensive. You got to give him an A.
Do you think, Kory, real quick, just to follow up, do you think Ennis Rakestraw this year, I know he's been playing, he played a little bit in the slot. When we first saw, obviously, back-to-back corners, and we found out that Ennis Rakestraw was his number 2 corner behind Terrion, number 1 corner, only Brad would be like, yeah, our secondary is not great. I'll just go ahead and get my number 1 and number 2 corner. No big deal. What do you think about Ennis this year? Because at first I'm like, maybe he won't play as much this year, but now they got him playing in the slot. Like, is there a chance there you think that you'll see both rookies potentially out there this year, or you think the expectations with being a Super Bowl contender, maybe they'll ease these guys in compared to prior draft classes?
One thing that we've seen from Dan and company is that if there's not a need to rush a guy in, they'll ease him along. Now, obviously, things such as injuries can change that, and the Lions had a lot of injuries to their secondary last season. So, if there are injuries, this guy's probably going to come out there. But I think with Rakestraw, I think it's a possibility that we'll see him in certain packages. But I can see them treading him along, maybe for the first year. But I mean, again, there's training camp coming up. So if this guy beat somebody out in training camp or a couple people out, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I like Brian Branch did it. I keep using that example. Brian Branch did it with CJ last year. Another question with we're talking kind of rookies here, but just kind of adding to the team. Brad spoke on 97.1 about like the wide receiver situation and about potentially, hey, in free agency, if there's still guys out there come training camp, like we can go out there and still go get guys. And even for me, like even if you look at the safety room with CJ leaving and Tracy leaving, there's still like some room there. And they do have $23 million, it looks like, left in cap, and everyone's saying with the Goff contract, there's going to add some more potentially. Do you think, Brad, did you get like the feeling that maybe Brad wants to make some more moves and bring a couple guys in? Because there are some big names still out there. Do you see him kind of doing that?
I think Brad always keeps his ear to the ground, or ear out there just to see what is going on. And it's possible, things happen in training camp. So, guys go down. And they I can see them probably maybe bringing somebody in. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when they brought in Devin Funchess, I believe that was right before training camp popped off, if I'm not mistaken. So if there's a guy out there that they want to give a chance to, they'll probably bring him in. But also, too, they don't necessarily need to add anybody. I think bringing back Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to actually be a sleeper move because, with all due respect, this is really going to be the fact that he's going to have this whole offseason with the Lions to be able to train and practice with Goff. This is really the best quarterback DPJ has had since probably high school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he had Baker and he did decent that year, but I mean, Baker, Goff, come on. I mean, I think they're out. Let's just be real about it. So I'm curious to see what he can do. I think he could probably step up and be that third wide receiver role. I mean, obviously we'll got to see what happens with Khalif Raymond and how healthy he comes back. But I think the Lions they're pretty solid at wide receiver. But again, if they see there's a guy they believe can help them, best believe that Brad is looking. He's always looking. And I think the one thing that fans have to realize is that just because the Lions don't sign somebody or don't trade for somebody doesn't mean that they were asleep at the wheel. It just means that they have a different thought process than most may have.
Yeah.
Kory, staying on the offensive side of the ball, this is a debate we get into pretty frequently on the show. Jahmyr Gibbs obviously was a stud last year, but what do you expect from him production-wise in year two when I think he's going to be the focal point of this offense, but obviously David Montgomery's there. So how do you think that kind of balances out this year?
That is a really great question, and I'm going to be honest with you. I have no answers for that right now because Jahmyr Gibbs is, from what we see from him year one, and again, that was a guy that the Lions took high. They went up, took high, and they brought him along a lot slower than some people thought. And then towards the end of the year, playoffs unleashed. And I talked with ESPN's Louis Riddick, and he says that he believes that he said that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a future NFL MVP. The article is on him live if you do not believe me. So they have a game changer in him. And I don't know what that dynamic is going to look like between him and David Montgomery, but I know you're not going to be able to handicap him too long. You're not saying they did it to start the season last year, but this season to start, they're going to have to probably unleash him a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let him loose.
Yeah. Well, you already know. You guys know how I feel about running backs in general. I don't know if I'd extend him, but hey, that's a great player. He'll be fine. Kory, we appreciate you. You guys can check out Kory's work. Of course, he does Pistons. God bless you. And the Detroit Lions. for M Live beat writer. Follow him on social media at Kory Woods. Kory, we'll talk to you soon, my man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Appreciate you, Kory.
All right, thanks.
All right, there you have it, Mr. Kory Woods. Hey, spitting facts too.
I'm jealous. He just said he got to talk to Louis Riddick. That's like on my life bucket list. If I could just 10 seconds with pause. A 10-second conversation with Louis.
There we go.
I'd be all right with dying at that moment.
Yeah, hey, Kory, he's locked in with the especially the golf stuff. We're lockstep with that. I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, he's keyed in. He mentioned the golf stretch last year. He said he was dealing with something, but you don't hear that. You know what I mean? Like you just don't hear that stuff. I mean, these guys are human beings at the end of the day. I think, now that we kind of got into it a little bit, we'll dive back into the golf stuff because you look at just how he's played the last 2 years, and I know at a Pro Bowl level, he's played at a high level. And to kind of, people are like, Jeff, well, what about Hendon Hooker, right? And I said this in my video today. I gave the worst case and the best case scenario. The best case for the Detroit Lions, if I'm taking my opinion completely out of it, I think all Lions fans would agree with this sentiment. Best case scenario, Hendon doesn't see the field. Okay, Jared Goff plays at such a high level, Hendon can't beat him out, and you have a guy who is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and quite frankly, it's just hard to come by at the end of the day. Like Kory kind of alluded to earlier, people are so obsessed with different players, and I like Hendon Hooker. I think a lot of Lions fans, some Lions fans would agree, maybe don't, maybe others don't. But at the end of the day, if he plays at a high level and Hendon doesn't see the field, that's a great thing. It means he's continuing to play at a high level. He's leading this franchise. They're competing for a Super Bowl. It's awesome. Then there's the other side, and we'll just look at the worst case scenario, just to do an exercise here. The worst case scenario is, let's say Goff, he regresses and he doesn't play well. To Lucas's point earlier, there isn't out in year 3, but I do think Jared Goff, him as a quarterback holds enough weight in this league that you can trade him. So I think either outcome, even if it's worst case or best case, the Lions will be all right. That's why when I saw the contract, I was like, all right, cool. A little more than I expected, more years. It's not the end of the world. I think they'll have this thing figured out. So before you guys go, I do want to acknowledge we had some super chats while we were talking to Kory here. Jam Cat, I appreciate the $10.
Shout out Jam Cat.
Ford Hamp. Absolutely. Shout out to
Happy
Sheila
Mother's Day to her yesterday as well.
No question. Rut became a Crunch member for
Rut.
1 month. We appreciate you, Rut. And we have Robin's Nest, who donated $20. Man, we appreciate you so much. He said when Jared Goff chance broke out at Yost Arena, U of M hockey too, all doubts of Goff/Lions pairing were forevermore laid to rest. He is our quarterback. He is Detroit. Well, thank you for that.
There we go.
Burn, thank you for the $5. Did you guys hear Manu saying he wants to become a future left tackle? The big dog dreaming big if Panay is his competition.
Hey, go out there and be great. What did I say last week about that man? He
Gold jacket.
Didn't really. I backstepped on that. I'm talking about mindset wise.
He's got a gold jacket mindset, Booner.
Mindset, yes.
Perfect.
Now, can you do it? Who knows? Real quick, what Jeff said though, because the Hendon Hooker thing, I think that's the interesting part, Jeff. What you said, and a lot of people today, you see tweets going out. Oh, this is the end for Hendon Hooker. Oh, the reason they drafted Hendon Hooker is they didn't trust in Jared Goff. I didn't even see it like that. And I don't know if you guys are on the same page with me, but when you draft a quarterback in the 3rd round, and you guys, and I've spoken Adams in the chat, I've spoken with you guys a lot about, the percent. We've talked about the percentages when it comes to quarterbacks hitting. And Jeff, I brought to you before, like the 49ers and the Patriots, teams that are constantly, even with Tom Brady, they were constantly drafting quarterbacks just in case, we might need a guy. They got a guy in the 3rd round. You don't draft a guy in the 3rd round and say, hey, I think he's going to be our future franchise quarterback in the 3rd round. You draft a guy in the 3rd round because you might need a backup in the future. He potentially could be your starter in the future. And a guy like Hendon Hooker, who was going to be a 1st-round pick, gets hurt, and you can still get him in the 3rd round, you see value in that. And then if there's the people who say, oh, well, he traded up for him. Go look at this last year's draft. He traded up for Gio Manu. He traded up for Sion Vaki. He traded up for almost every pick he's had in the last 2 years. That man loves to trade up and get his guys. And when he sees a guy like Hendon Hooker, he goes and gets them. And he just added depth to that quarterback room. That's all it was. And that was what I think for the last year I've been trying to explain to people is that we need to sign this Jared Goff contract. You need to get it done, because if you wait and then you go win a Super Bowl next year, or he takes it to a back-to-back NFC championship game, then what? Then you had to pay him 60, 65 million. And now you got him here at 53. So it was just, it's a smart move to do instead of waiting. And I do have some people who I showed you guys, people who wanted to wait and people who said, wait till the end of the year. That was just a dumb move. You got a really good contract from Jared Goff, especially when you look into the future of quarterbacks. The Hooker thing, like you said, Jeff, if it comes down to it and Hooker ends up being great, and, you know, down the stretch, you're going to be able to move on from the Jared Goff thing. That's why there's the opt-out as well, and vice versa. So, you know, I think the deal is perfect deal. It feels like right now the second highest paid quarterback, somehow, some way, if you really break it down and no ball, Klotz, you're the ball knower. It feels essentially like a steal when you really break it down and look long-term. That's where I'll stand on it.
Yeah, not only that, but to what you were saying earlier, Booner, Tua Tagovailoa is about to sign for more money. Dak Prescott's going to sign for a lot more money. So if you're sitting here with $53 million and Jared Goff, there's a smile on my face. I do not care. And especially when you talk about building for the future and making sure this team stays in that window, Jared Goff is a perfect quarterback to do it with because he's just consistent. And what do young players need in order to develop? They need consistency on the field. So when you talk about bringing in wide receivers, tight end, running back, Sam Laporte, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, they all have consistency. Linemen like Gio Manu, he's going to have consistency inside the pocket. Jared Goff, he doesn't move much. So you know what Jared Goff is doing. Every phase of this offense, I think he's going to be able to develop behind Jared Goff. And that's another thing that you're even more confident when you sign this contract, because outside of that span around Thanksgiving, you really haven't seen much inconsistency outside of Jared Goff. Even when he first got here and he was throwing to Tyrell Williams, it wasn't like Jared Goff was just coming in and taking absolute shitters. I mean, he played bad games, but it's not like it was solely his fault. I think there's been very few games while Goff has been in Detroit where it's just like Jared Goff lost us that game. There's probably been one or two, but not many since he's been here.
Yeah, to your guys' point, I mean, the worst case scenario, another one would be you continue to wait, and then Tua gets he sets the record for the highest paid quarterback, and then you have, you know, Dak Prescott jump him, and then Goff's looking at Brad like, hey, yesterday's price isn't today's price. You know, I've won more playoff games than both these guys. I made a Super Bowl. I just took you to an NFC Championship game, and depending on what happens this year, if they go back to another NFC Championship game, that'll be 2. Which, you know, like, what?
Sorry, this just got me. It was just a complete
what is anyone doing over here? Oh man.
Well, but you get the point. I mean, you can't wait around with these things. Like, regardless, both sides have to compromise. Brad isn't going to get exactly what he wants, and Jared's not going to get exactly what he wants. They have to compromise and get a deal that makes sense for both sides. And I think at first look, without knowing the details, I think they did that at this point.
What do you think Jared was asking for originally? They signed at 53.
55. I bet you 55. And I bet you, so? Yeah, and I bet you Brad was at like 50. And they're like, all right, let's just do the middle here. That would be my guess. Yeah. I feel like as we were going through this, a lot of the fans and a lot of the people like us who cover the Lions and going through it, we were so stuck on what the current market was, seeing the guys at 45. What was Kirk Cousins, 45, I believe, or around there.
Coming off an Achilles injury.
Yeah, so I think we were just sitting there kind of seeing where the market was and not even thinking essentially, hey, where's the market going to go? And as the market goes, you're like, okay, like if we're being realistic here, they're going to be like Jared and his team's going to be looking at, hey, what is it going to be in the next 2 or 3 years? And that's what we're going to kind of push for. And that's probably why they said, hey, let's do 55. And then they landed on 53. So that's where kind of my mind goes to when we were breaking it down. We were just like, oh, 45, that's where Kirk's at. That's where the market's at. Let's do 45 and we're going to be good. No, hey, what's the market going to look like in 2 or 3 years? And that's what they did. And then I think a lot of people got a little shocked seeing 53 today. That's probably the most realistic number, if we're being honest. I love the number 2 because, again, those 3 guys, these 3 quarterbacks, Tua, Dak, and Jordan Love, they're all going to sign in the next 2 or 3 months, and they're going to have massive deals. And then Jared Goff's contract in 2 months is going to look so nice. It's going to look beautiful.
And here's another point. Like, look at this graphic. This is 3013 put this out, and it's just really the extensions that got done this offseason. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell were both signed before the draft. You got Amon-Ra, 4-year, $120 million. Penei, 4 years, $112 million. And then Jared Goff,
a lot of
4-year, $212 million.
Brad spent so much money in the last month.
That's not even
so much money.
Do you know who else? Do you know who else he re-signed as well? I just thought of this. That man re-signed Brad Holmes, or I guess he didn't. Sheila, Brad Holmes. They re-signed Brad Holmes and they re-signed Dan Campbell this offseason. They look, hey, this is our foundation. Let's keep these guys here.
I'm just curious personally. This is just me kind of spitballing. With Brad Holmes, he's a new GM and he's been doing such a great job. I'm curious moving forward. It's like a test that I think he'll be fine. But it's interesting to see how he balances hitting on all these draft picks. Like how does he kind of navigate this process? Because now you have to extend players. Like Hutch is coming up. Like Kory mentioned, Ali McNeil's coming up. Which, if I'm being honest, you can't pay everybody unless maybe Aleem is there's affordable, but you have to think of it from Aleem's perspective. Like, hey, if I'm going out and having a career year, I'm going to get paid top dollar. So not going to be able to keep everybody, but Brad, hey, made a statement this offseason, boys. He paid who he believed is their core foundation. I mean, I would agree. Amon-Ra, Panay, and Jared Goff, like, yeah, all on offense, but still, those guys are integral to what they want to do.
I think what he's going to have to start doing, I'd be interested to, especially with Aleem, start using that franchise tag a lot more. Because I can't even recall, like, off the top of my head, if because he hasn't. There hasn't been a notable player to franchise tag. So when you talk about these contracts, I mean, when you look at Aleem, if he's coming off a career year, do you really want to let him walk? Or, I mean, even if it's one more year that you get out of Aleem, I think that's something that he's going to start having to utilize.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing, too, I don't know if you had it in the prep or not, Jeff, but every time I think of signing these contracts, sorry, I saw an account there that was funny. I got thrown off for a second. I thought there was a different account in here, and I was like, "Whoa!" No, but honestly, think about this, fellas. Like these contracts that get signed, you have these rookies coming in. A Terrion Arnold, who's a first-round draft pick. You have, Jameer Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta. Brad has let's just say he's put his nuts on the table and said, hey, if you go out there and win and you prove that you're a Detroit Lion and you prove you can sit there and you can produce for us, we're going to give you the money and we're going to find a way to pay you. And at the end of the day, like if you're out there and to me, it's just like these three contracts, them extending Dan Campbell, Sheila giving Brad an extension, they have set the foundation of this whole franchise and said, this is what our expectation is. This is what we're about. This is what we're going to be about. It's like the Booner path. This is what we are about now. The brand new Lions. It is this, and this is our expectations. Rookies, when you come in, free agents, when you come in, look at what Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra, Aiden Hutchinson, Dan Campbell, look at what they're about, and now follow that because that's going to lead you to the promised land. And that's like the whole brand new Lions thing. And now they're showing, like now that they're all due for extensions, it's wild to see them like it come to fruition and be like, hey, we're going to pay these guys because they built this up. And we're kind of in that next step of Detroit, the organization taking that next step, which I don't know about you guys. I'm absolutely pumped about. A year ago when the Booner path was created, this was the vision of going to a Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, starting to sign these guys. That is what they're doing now. And Brad Holmes is doing it very smart, very calculated. He knows exactly what he's doing and he's doing it the right way. Now, other part, Brad Holmes better keep drafting really, really well because you're spending a lot of money now. So you're going to have to keep bringing new guys in that are going to produce. That's just a part of the game. That's what the Patriots always did. The Niners did. A lot of these teams did that. That's what you have to do now. Now it's consistent.
Yeah, and there's nothing that, at least at this point, that would indicate he can't do it. I think the thing that impresses me the most about Brad is his just skill in identifying late round talent, which is going to help him when you're paying those guys pennies. So again, are you always going to hit on late round talent? No, but I would trust Brad to be able to do that. That's why I think, when you look at a GM like Brad, and that's a very valuable, especially where the Lions are heading. They're now the hunted. They're in that tier with other great organizations in terms of being Super Bowl contenders, and welcome. I mean, the 49ers deal with this. The Eagles deal with this. I mean, the Chiefs deal with this, even though Mahomes is really taking discounts to be able to keep everybody. But still, you get the point. This is a common problem amongst good teams in good organizations. So that's why it's not like, oh, I wonder if Brad can handle it. It's a fair question, but hey, if he's a good GM, he will. And I do believe he will, because it's not like the Lions are going to face any problems that other teams won't have. Like, this is a common issue. That's why, the Chiefs looked at L'Jarius Sneed and just kind of threw up the deuces. They couldn't pay him, and that happens. But they draft well. So at the end of the day,
imagine if the Lions brought in L'Jarius Sneed.
Oh yeah, no.
Cap space would be looking pretty rough right now.
Yeah. Except they got 2 corners now on rookie deals. So That's just how this thing goes.
Mhm.
I saw this graphic PFF put out too, and it was interesting. It's a graphic just about Jared Goff and his just statistically what he is against the blitz. You look at this graphic here. It says most TD passes versus the blitz since 2021. Dak Prescott 37, Jared Goff 34, and Patrick Mahomes 31. Now, I will say this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say this. Getting against the blitz and pressured are not the same. All right. Blitz meaning they blitz. Pressured meaning they get pressure. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Okay. So it's still, I'm not even discounting it. But again, if you're going to go solely off this, then Dak's better than Mahomes against the blitz, which I would never say that in a million years. But just to give you an idea, it's credit to the offensive line. But again, Jared, he does get the ball out quickly. I will give him that. He does. So that you got that going for him.
I'm just going to be honest, boys. It's another reason why I just hate PFF.
It's a great
It's great when it works in your favor, but goes. If you look since 2021, who is consistently, obviously they kind of fell off 2 years ago, but even this year, the Cowboys offensive line stacked. The Detroit Lions offensive line stacked. And then you have Patrick Mahomes. So it's one of those things where the Chiefs, the O-line hasn't been terrible, but I mean, you watch Mahomes. I mean, when you try to blitz him, he's going to kill you every time. So it's nice to see it, but my opinion is
fits the narrative.
Cute. Yeah.
Depending on who you are, you might love it. You might love that graphic.
I'm just, whenever I hear PFF, it's just,
because people assume that blitz means pressure. A team could blitz. No one sniffs getting home. They're just, and Jared can have all the time, or Dak, we can use him, and he's throwing TDs. It's wow. It's no. If you're pressuring Dak, I promise I would trust Mahomes over Dak getting pressured. So, but yeah, I mean, again,
I like that stat. I'm with that all the way.
I also saw this one too, and I don't know. This is going to stir some shit up, but I'm here for it. They 3013 put this out, and it's Jared Goff against Matthew Stafford since the trade went down. Okay. And I know ETN, our local Rams fan in the chat, he's probably fired up. I'll go through this, okay? So 3013 put the side-by-side graphic. It says Jared Goff since traded to the Lions and Matthew Stafford since traded to the Rams. Both 24 wins. 24 wins. Same completion percentage. Goff has 3 more touchdown passes. I think Stafford was hurt, but regardless. Yeah. Turnovers, same amount of turnovers. Time sacked, about the same amount of times, and then Matthew has the Super Bowl.
Should have put games played. I'm interested to see the games played.
Yeah, that probably was the most. There's a reason they didn't put the games played. But
let's be fair, though. Let's be fair. Matthew Stafford got to a team and got traded to a team that was already built to win a Super Bowl. Jared Goff got sent to a team that was the worst team in all of football, and he still has had similar stats, whether the games or not, however many he's played. One went into the worst situation in all of football, and the other went into one of the best situations in all of football. So to see Jared Goff do that and kind of bounce back and build something and then bounce back to have similar numbers like that, I think that still kind of shows a lot. Whether he's played more games or not, it still just shows a little bit about, put it in perspective on what he kind of dealt with.
Yeah, and I think for where the Lions were, especially in a rebuild, Matthew Stafford's like a classic, hero gunslinger quarterback. That's what you live and die with Matthew Stafford. That's why some games the Lions would look like when they had Stafford, they would look like a top offense in the league. And then the next game, you're like, okay, they can't get the run going. Stafford's not having any success. What the hell is going on? And Stafford had 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. With Jared Goff, he's just doing what you ask him to do. He's more so just being a tool for the coaching staff, which is a good thing. It's just when there'd be 2nd and 5s, Matthew Stafford's throwing a 50-yard bomb to Kelvin Johnson. That's an incomplete pass. Jared Goff, he's just checking it down to Amon-Ra St. Brown. So again, it's going back to the consistency factor. When I look at this, I don't think of who's a better quarterback. I think it's hard to argue that Matthew Stafford is not the better quarterback, but it goes to show the consistency that Jared Goff has.
Yeah, the talent, the skill, all that. I mean, we know who that is.
I have the math here, just when they both got to their respective teams. And basically to compare it, Jared Goff, this is just regular season, by the way. I didn't factor in the playoffs. Jared Goff's played in 50 games, regular season games, and Matthew's played in 41. So it's a 9-game difference.
It's a lot when it comes to passing touchdowns and turnovers and stuff. Yeah. I guess turnovers, they have the same, and he has 9 less games. So that would be significant.
Because Matt did that season, man. He threw like 17 picks in there.
He led the league in picks when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So
Brutal.
Again, for all the people out there that when this contract first got announced and they're freaking out, I think people still have it ingrained in their head what Jared was in LA. He has gotten better. He's gotten better. The Lions have a perfect setup for him, and that's not an insult. Like the offensive line, the receiving talent they have, and hopefully J-Mo can blossom and turn into what we think he could be, and that's going to be great for the Lions. But Sam Laporta, I mean, the Ben Johnson, dude, the best backfield, we believe, the best running back duo, if you want to go inside a backfield, running back duo in the league. There's no reason why Jared, I know you asked Kory that, Jared can't play at a high level. And now is when the expectations, like, okay, Jared, you're locked up. Now we expect, I know we expected this before, but now when a player gets paid, the expectations for that said player rise. It just does. So the Super Bowl expectations were already there. But now people are going to be looking at Jared as the $50 million guy, 53 annually, whatever you want to look at it. So now, not just the Lions' expectations go up, but now people are going to look at Goff like, all right, you better be giving me $50+ million worth of production. And he has the last 2 years, but he understands that as well. That comes with any kind. Same with Amon-Ra, same with Panay. Like Panay better play as one of the best tackles, and he will. But Amon-Ra better be one of the best damn wide receivers, and he will. But hey, when you get paid, all eyes on you. And that's how it usually is for players.
I think, too, a lot of the hate, especially like the Rams, when he gets drafted there, the number one overall pick, obviously the expectations were high. A lot of negative things you hear about Jared Goff now, it's like the example, he has the most turnovers in the NFL since he's been in the league, like him and Josh Allen through that stretch. But then if you break it down, okay, well, how has he done since in Detroit? And he's so far off the top of the list when it comes to that with the turnovers compared to, if you look it up since 2021, since he got here, he's not even close to the top. So I think a lot of people look at the Rams, Jared Goff, and then they say, oh, well, the Lions, when he could still, the turnovers is insane. Everything, he's not mobile. He's not this. He has matured so much. Again, he is about to be 30 years old. I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, this is Jared Goff's entering his kind of prime. He is a veteran quarterback in the NFL. He's played a lot of football in this league. He did it at a young age when he got drafted number 1 overall. And people use this as an excuse against him. The offensive line, the weapons, Ben Johnson, the coach. Who cares about all of that? If you have that and you have Jared Goff and he's proven you can win with that, you want a quarterback like that in the NFL. There's a lot of quarterbacks that you draft in the first round who go into situations like Detroit right now and absolutely bomb and do terrible and can't win football games. It happens all the time. Like, look at Trevor Lawrence last year. Struggled all year. And no one, he was considered in the MVP conversation going into the preseason. And then this year, he's not even close to being in that conversation. People have him at 15th in their quarterback rankings. Jared Goff consistently is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, statistically wise and wins wise when he's on a good football team. And when you have that and you can build a team like Brad Holmes can build, and you have the right staff and you have the right coaches, why wouldn't you want a guy like that you can go win a Super Bowl with? And you could think about it this way too. I saw Adam's tweet today, and he's been consistent on this. We've been consistent on it. If you put just a top 15 defense on the field with them, you're winning a Super Bowl. If you have a top 5 offense, as they've had the last 2 seasons with Jared Goff, and then you just throw out you had the 23rd defense in the NFL. If you just throw out a top 15 defense, you probably win that game with the 49ers and get an extra stop in the second half, go to the Super Bowl, and probably have a chance to win a Super Bowl versus the Chiefs this year. You give him that next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, you're competing for Super Bowls with Jared Goff. And that $50 million is completely worth it.
And look at this. This is what Adam posted. We used it before, and this was Goff's first 21 games to his next 30 games. Okay, and look at the statistics, look at the stats, right? 5,000. We'll talk about the 4-16-1 start, which was a legit, that happened. The Lions were at that point 4-16-1 under Dan Campbell. That's when a lot of people were probably unsure a little bit with what Dan Campbell could be as a head coach. And Jared Goff, little over 5,000 yards, 31 TDs, 14 interceptions, 66% completion percentage, and 92 quarterback rating. But then you look at the 8-2 stretch in that continuing, almost 8,000 yards, 53 touchdown passes, 13 interceptions, 66% completion percentage, and 101.3 quarterback rating. So what he's been, dude, 53 TDs to 13 picks. He's been playing well.
The fact he only had 14 interceptions during that 4-16-1 run is still insane. When you factor in the players that he had around him and Anthony Lynn developing in the division that he was in, it's impossible to try to actually put up legitimate production, in my opinion. And the fact that the interception pretty much stayed the same, it goes back to what we were saying before. It's just consistency, because now on that jump, you're adding in Sam Laporta, you're adding in David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, you're adding in Amon-Ra St. Brown entering his prime. So, yes, the stats are going up, but it just goes back to saying that Jared, since he's got here, has pretty much been the same quarterback.
30 games. So, basically 9 more games than that the left side there, and less interceptions, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. That's why it's so weird to me that so many people would go at Jared. Like that stretch of football this last year, what was it, like a 3-game stretch? Where it's like the Bears, where he just struggled, and you won some of those games too. I think you might have still been 2-1 in those games where he really struggled. To go through a stretch like that, but like, do you guys remember from the end of last year, and then, or what was that? I guess it would have been the year where they made the push for the playoffs. Kind of the last couple games there into the last year, he had that streak without throwing an interception and almost beat the NFL record for that.
I forget. Yeah, we forget about that. I completely forgot about that.
So he could take care of the ball. He knows how to. And that was why I got so frustrated when that stretch of football came about in the middle of the season last year. I was just going to battle with some guys on air, not on air, and just people, listeners, who it's, dude, go, like Jared is taking care of the ball. You just want to kind of remember this 2 or 3 game stretch where, yeah, he had the fumbles, he had the interceptions, and then that's all you want to think about. And you don't even think about the 16 games before that he went without an interception or a turnover or whatever the stretch was. So it's just, to me, it's people want to pick and choose, but when you really break it down and you watch the game, he's a quarterback that's going to win you football games, take care of the ball, and be very, 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 very smart, when it comes to it. And win. I mean, to me, it's just win football games, folks. Just win.
Yeah, the guys, like the Lions are in a window. They're just starting to become a legitimate franchise. Like Jared Goff is the perfect quarterback to help you win a lot of games, keep you in that conversation, provide stability. He's really good. Like there's no chance that they were just going to be like, all right, Goff, get out of here. No way. Not now. Down the line, things could be different. But as of right now, he is extended. He should be extended. And based on the momentum you're coming off last season, why would you make a change? At least this year or next year. They believe they have a Super Bowl window and they want to chase it. So I want to get to some more super chats, because we had some kind of come in that while we were kind of talking there. Pennywise, thank you for the $2. Says Fat Goff hasn't thrown a spiral in 2 years.
Two things can be true. If it gets there, it's why it's so valuable.
Quack, all the people, all those
who catches 202 balls off the jug machine after practice.
All those duck people and those quack people are really laughing now. I was saying during the season, hey, if you're throwing a duck, who cares? But guess what? That duck flew for the second most yards in the whole entire NFL. So, like, what are we doing now?
Migrated north.
That duck had a lot of miles on it. How many miles is that? That's a lot of miles.
Oh my gosh! All right, Bird, thank you for the $5. The Stafford works in LA because he unplugged McVay in the second half and goes, F it, I'm going deep. McVay can't treat Stafford like he did Goff, so it balances. Yeah, they're just different. I think they're different quarterbacks, even though they're both not mobile.
Yeah, Stafford in the pocket is.
Stafford can move and make throws. That's he's one of the best in the game of all time to I would say, outside, like, escape the pocket and kind of make throws like that. Obviously, he's not like a mobile quarterback, but that man gets out of the pocket and will make some of the craziest throws you've ever seen in your life.
Xavier D, he says, Jeff, you're sad, dude. You were wrong, and now you're sad to admit it. Did I ever say don't extend Goff?
No, I think just because you're very pro hooker, like I am, just to see what you have in him.
And
I will say it's a beautiful day for people like on the Booner Path today. It's a beautiful day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
been very consistent on the Jared Goff stuff.
I was wrong on two things. One, the amount of money. I said 45 to 50. It was more. And the years. I said 2 to 3. He got 4. So I'll admit it. Like, I was wrong. I never said don't extend him. I mean, I said extend him. So, it is. They had to get it done. Freddie Wise. What's Freddie Wise's
I
problem?
don't know. It's Freddie. You know what it is? Freddie's probably a fan of the other place we were at. That's what it was. He's one of those guys.
Damn, Freddie.
Or maybe he doesn't.
He
like
donated
golf.
$5 just to throw.
I think Freddie, I'm pretty sure if I remember, unless it's a different Freddie, I think Freddie might have been on the Booner path at one point. Now he jumped off of it, trying to be, a little different.
Damn, man, donated $5 just to take a shot. Damn.
Hey, keep donating. Hey, thank you for the free
Hey.
money, brother. I'm gonna use that $5. I'm gonna go get me some more donuts tomorrow before work and a coffee.
He doesn't have a
How
profile.
about that, Freddie? Yeah, he doesn't. He's hiding something over there. He probably had a few donuts himself tonight for dinner.
Hey, donuts are good. If you don't like donuts, it must be a you problem. To be honest with you.
Donuts are great, but I mean, what are we talking? Come on now.
Let's see. Trisha Miller, I'm pro golf and pro hooker. We can be both. We have an embarrassment of riches. Yeah, I mean, I said that too. I mean, but why does one have to suck?
I think the hooker thing conversation can end for a little bit now. I think we can all agree with that. He just signed a 4-year deal. He's on the team. Goff is essentially 4 years guaranteed, and with a 5th-year option. That's essentially the contract. The hooker conversation's out the window at this point. That's just where it's at.
Yeah, I will agree. I'm still going to be interested.
Unless there's an injury. I'm in on hooker. Great backup.
Still gonna be watching. I'm still like the player, but yeah, you are right, Boone. In the near future, not in the near future. That 4-year deal for 5, he's gonna have to continue to play at a high level, and I think he will. Let's see. I see some people talking about my Hendon Hooker jersey. I did not get one. I do not have it. Only jersey I own is an Amon-Ra St. Brown jersey. That's the only jersey I own.
I will be ordering a Jared Goff jersey at some point.
Lions jersey. Yeah, I want to get the black alternates. That's what I want to get. Preferably, they don't have a Brian Branch one, but hopefully they do get a Brian Branch black one, black alternate. All right, let's welcome in the fourth, the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Gentry is joining us. So let's welcome in Michael Gentry.
Gentlemen, how the hell are we?
How are you? How are you
doing
doing over there?
What was that?
How are you, Gentry Goff?
Oh, I'm doing great. Booner, how happy are you,
brother? Hold on.
Haven't got to talk to you all day. I know you're ecstatic.
This is the biggest day, one of the biggest days for the Booner path. Outside of going to the NFC Championship game, this is second, third, maybe biggest day here. This is a big day for the people.
What a day! What a
franchise!
Day. What a fucking day,
Michael. What do we? How do we feel? How do we feel? Golf deal's done. We all kind of were saying 45-50. It's 53 right now. We don't have the details. I'm just saying the projected kind of annual AAV number, I guess. But what do you think, man? How do you feel today? I know you're pro golf, so you're excited.
I mean, like I've been saying, I thought it was going to be 3 years around 49. Obviously, it's a little up than that, and then you add a year. I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, it's right around what I was expecting, even though it is a little bit more, and you lock your guy down. Obviously, they wanted this to get done, so they got it done, and now we have our quarterback for the future. I know you guys are probably a little hurt for the Hendon Hooker's sake, but, I mean, Goff earned it, man. That's all you can say. He went out there, and he changed the dynamic of this team at the end of the day, and he earned every single dollar he got.
Yeah, we addressed the Hendon Hooker stuff. You know what? Booner is right. We can't be constantly talking about a
it's time to move on from that.
I love the way this sounds too. The Hooker-led Detroit Lions just sounds great. But at the same time,
I'm a fan.
I'm still going to be excited. Yeah, I'm still.
It's time.
I'm still interested. I'm supposed to hate the guy now? No,
not at all. Because he's interesting. He's your backup quarterback now. So if Jared Goff goes down, Hey, what do you have? Do you have a guy that can step in and help you still win a playoff game? Who do you have? Like, that's what you do want to know that. And if that does happen, there's if he's great, like that, then that's when you get in the conversation of now we're in a quarterback conversation. But that's not going to happen unless there's an injury or anything. Because what we talked about Thursday, like Gentry, I know you're just joining now, but you guys were kept saying, "Oh, we want the 3-year deal because you want to have that opportunity to move on to Hooker and see that out." They signed the 4-year deal, basically with the 4th-year option and with that extra 5th year. So the Hooker conversation, to me, let's move on for it unless there's an injury or there's something kind of in the future. But I think for the next year or two, at least minimum, we're on from that. Jared Goff is the man. Get used to his name. Get used to him, and you're going to see him hoisting a Lombardi Trophy, probably at a Super Bowl MVP at some point.
Yeah. So what does this mean for that Hooker pick? Was it kind of a wasted pick, Jeff? What are your thoughts on
No.
that? Obviously, the way the timeline lines up, and obviously it's great to have some backup to Jared Goff. You're gonna need a backup quarterback as Lions fans. We know that. But I'm not going to say it's a wasted pick yet because I think Hendon Hooker is a hell of a talent. But
well, let me say this, okay? I think Brad Holmes, from his perspective, at the time you drafted Hendon Hooker, you had one Pro Bowl year from Goff. So in his mind, he's like, you know what? I'm going to take a guy that I believe, again, Brad's BPA. He felt like Hendon Hooker falling. He was the best player available. So he took him. And now Jared Goff followed that year up with another Pro Bowl level, an NFC Championship game appearance. And with new information, you're allowed to change your opinion, which I think that's kind of what happened with Brad Holmes. You know, like he was like, hey, Goff, he let us do an NFC Championship game. He played well in the playoffs. Got to extend the guy. I don't think the thing I'm not with is like, oh yeah, there is some truth to it. Like, how much is the pick a waste? But at the end of the day, if Hendon Hooker is good, you have an option to trade him. If he never sees it down and Goff is the undisputed, the way he's playing, you're like, this guy's going to retire a Lion. You can still trade him, or you have him just here. Now, let's look at it from Hendon Hooker's perspective. I'm pissed. I'm absolutely pissed if I'm Hendon Hooker, personally, because I think he's older. He's older than Jordan Love. It's not like he needs years to develop, you know. So he's probably pissed off. But hey, it's I guess the business we're in.
I don't think Gentry. I don't think it's a waste. I just think you got essentially a first round quarterback in the third round, and you have a really good backup when he's healthy. That's how I look at it. And I said it earlier in the show. It's like you have a lot of these big time teams, like the Patriots have drafted quarterbacks in the first 3 rounds with Tom Brady. The 49ers have drafted first round quarterbacks. You see it all the time. Teams drafting quarterbacks in the first round. Like, look at what the Falcons just did with Kirk Cousins. They just used a 9th or 8th or 9th overall pick on Michael Penix. So I just think like getting him in the third round, it was like a value situation. You're going to see Brad Holmes too. Even I'm sure when Hendon Hooker's on the roster at some point down the line in the next few years, he might draft a quarterback in the 5th, 6th, 7th round if he likes the guy. Just to have a third guy on the team. Or you see that all the time in quarterback rooms in the NFL. And I think it was just, for him, it was value. I don't think it had anything to do with that. And then Jared Goff kind of goes off and does what he did. And now you just have a great backup.
And you'll find out, and you'll get to see him in the preseason. Doesn't change, like I'm still excited to see him. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be one of those guys where like Goff has an incomplete pass and I'm like, put Hendon Hooker in. I won't do that, but I am excited to see what he has.
You know some people like that though.
Yeah, and there will be. There's always going to be. Just it's how it works. Like I mentioned earlier, if he's getting paid what he's getting paid, now those people are going to come out of the woodworks more often because it's like $53 million, $53 million. And he has to, but again, he can't like throw an incompletion and roll it. I'm not going to do that. I promise. I'm not. But if there's a whole entire year of significant regression, like, yeah, we're going to talk about it. But I don't think it's going to happen. The offense is the same. He's going to play well. So that's what should happen. And he doesn't really get injured either, so he'll be healthy. I don't see. I mean, unless something freak happens, you're not probably going to see Hendon Hooker this year, unless there's an absolute blowout and he gets snaps at the end. Maybe.
I am interested. I will say, preseason it'll be nice to see what he can do because I'm still like I want to know what kind of backup quarterback we have. Last year, like Teddy B, we knew what Teddy was. He's been a very good backup quarterback around the NFL. You're just
what Nate Sudfeld brings.
Yeah, we know Nate Sudfeld. He's gonna be Jared Goff's like water boy. No offense to that. That sounded bad. I just mean like he's gonna be helping Jared Goff out throughout the season.
There's a fence there, Boone.
Yeah. So, but I would like to see what that backup, like what he entails. So where if Jared does go down for a game or he's sick or in a week or something, can you still go out and win a football game with him? That's what I want to see.
What are you laughing at, Mike? What's so funny, huh?
Yeah, what's so funny out here?
Nothing. I see the chats going after your hair, Jeff.
Yeah, well, it's a Monday. I mean,
has it been that kind of show?
Yeah.
I mean, the chat has been unbelievable tonight. I love the chat.
Yeah, these comments are Jesus. All right. Jeff is going to go for the Drake hair clips look soon. I promise you I'm not. I promise you I'm not.
Yeah, I want Adam to know, too, the Hooker thing. Adam said, can we stop at Hooker? I already said it here on the show. The Hooker conversation should be done for a couple years now. It's done. Jared Goff's your quarterback the next couple years. Deal with it.
Yeah.
He's going to go win you a Lombardi trophy.
All right,
Move on.
here's
Sorry for asking, Booner. Jeez.
No, that wasn't at you. It was just it's the
Pennywise
hooker,
is really getting to you, Boone.
the hooker stuff to me. It's no. I'm sorry. Huh? Let me put. Hold on. I need to get my.
Calm
All
down.
right,
It's
sorry.
a good day, Booner. This should
Yeah,
be
I'm
a
sorry.
good day for you.
I'm excited. The Booner path is like shining. There are flowers. The Booner path has been like absolutely shining today. This is a beautiful day. I told Jeff this. I had for 2 months in my drafts on Twitter, I had a breaking news: Detroit Lions re-sign Jared Goff or extend Jared Goff. I had it on there for 2 months. And when I saw that alert come through, I was so happy to be able to send it. I had in there too. I had 4 years, $200 million. All I had to do was erase it and put 212. It was one of the most beautiful days of my life. It was beautiful. It's one of the best days of my life. And the Booner path.
Yeah, of course.
It basically just confirmed there's going to be a Lombardi trophy on the Booner path.
Hey, the people are speaking about Jared Goff. Shift God says, I hope Hooker shits the bed in preseason. WM.
There we go, people. I don't want him to be bad, but like, hey.
Says Hooker blows.
Lot of,
this is where we're at. This is Jesus. Anthony's in here now. What is going on in the chat? All right, we got Anthony. Jeff quit sending me dick pics while you're live, brother. Stay focused. The people are unleashed. I saw.
Sounds like you are too. My God, what are you
got
doing?
Broski Bear. Jeff has posters of Paulie D in his room. No.
You can't.
You sure?
If you were to grow the top out a little bit more, you could pull off the.
Good, yeah. You need to put a little bit more.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I've watched every episode of Jersey Shore.
I've seen a couple episodes. I haven't seen a
situation.
Yeah, you do lose brain cells, but hey, I did tune in.
We should all get a house for like a summer and do like a Jersey Shore type thing.
No. You would never in my life catch me sharing a house with females like that. Not a chance. For my sanity, not a chance.
All right.
Hey, Lucas, I got to give you some credit here. Did you see what's being reported? I don't know if you watched Ennis Rakestraw when he met with the media, but I was listening to a couple of the clips over the weekend. They had him at minicamp because he was on a snap count because they're trying to keep him, dialed. It's not like he's dealing with an injury. He said he's fine, but they're just kind of
precaution.
Yeah, precautionary. You know where they had him playing?
Put him on the inside. Mm-hmm. Telling you.
I
wasn't. You fellas know, especially right after the draft. I was like, I didn't hate it, but I was like, if they put him at nickel and allow him to play in the slot, I love that pick just because of his physicality. A lot of his question marks were during routes when the receivers run him, he kind of loses his course a little bit. And it's not like he completely gets lost, but there were times where he did get lost. And it's just because when you're an aggressive play like that, playing the cornerback position, chances are you're going to take more chances. And when you can't rebound as well as like the Terrion Arnolds, well, there's more chances for completions. But if you stick him in the slot where he's going up against slot receivers that are smaller than him, tight ends where he can match up well with his physicality, he's not the biggest corner, but he plays like he's 6'2", 6'3", and he's 5'11", 5'10". So you put him in the nickel and you put Terrion Arnold on the outside with Carlton Davis for the next 2 years, and then you add in a Meek Robinson who can go in and outside. That's going to be a great rotation that when you're playing in the NFC North, we talk about all the time, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, the Packers, 4 or 5 wide receivers they could go and pull up off the rotation at any time. That's essential, and especially when you have Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, and Ife Melifonwu, that's going to benefit them even more as well.
Yeah,
love it.
Do you think, obviously, as he gains more experience from starting in the slot, that this could be a thing, kind of just get those reps in at the slot? Then if hopefully injuries don't happen and maybe year 2, year 3, you kind of move him to the outside?
I mean, I don't know. There's corners, like especially like in the second round, third rounds that just get drafted and they're slot corners their whole time. And that's a very valuable position to have because a lot of times slot receivers, unless you have like a AJ Brown on the outside, the slot receivers are the most athletic position on the field outside if they have like a blazing running back because they're just quick and twitchy. So when you have a guy that can do that and you have a guy outside of him and Terrion Arnold, you can just keep signing like a cornerback too because Terrion, we believe, is going to be a corner one. Just leave him in the nickel. That allows Branches to play safety. And it's just, you look at the corners like Chris Harris Jr.'s who were just a lockdown slot guy. I'm not saying he's going to be that, but they just dominated inside the slot. And I think that's what he can be as well.
It does give too, like if you move Branch to safety, because I keep bringing up like CJ Gardner-Johnson leaves, Tracy Walker leaves, you had the depth in the safety room. Now, with if Branch is at that spot, you don't have as much depth when it comes down to it. If you're able to move Branch to safety, now you have that rotation. If someone goes down, you have another backup like the Kirby. Like we talked about that on Friday, I think, to where like, hey, if Branch moves to safety, who's going to be that first guy out? And we talked about how Kirby, but then you sit there and you have a rotation, back there with Kirby, Iffy, and as well as Brian Branch. So I think it helps you out with depth as well. That's probably in my head. That's a reason why they wanted to try him out there, is because of that.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, and that's AG's philosophy with DBs is versatility, and I've brought that word up a lot. But you look at some of the DBs they have currently; that's Amik Robertson, like you said, Lucas, inside, outside. Brian Branch, he can play in the slot, play safety. They had CJ last year; he can do both. That's kind of the guys they're bringing in, and with Ennis Rakestraw, it's not like it's a foreign concept to play in the slot. He played in the slot I believe his freshman year at Missouri. Then he was kicked outside. So. And I think we brought that up before. Like, he has experience playing inside. And like he says, he doesn't care where he plays. Like, the dude's just an absolute dog. But I didn't realize
him being like.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
If you guys remember Mike Hilton when he was on the Steelers and he's on
Yep.
the Bengals now, and he's not a household name, but if you watch their defense, you're like, damn, they need Mike Hilton. And he's like a 5'10", 5'11" guy. And when you watch the way that he plays and hits, that's a guy that we talk about. I know I mentioned Chris Harris, but that's he was an all-pro type of corner. When you look at Mike Hilton, I could see Rakestraw being a lot like him. And when you talk about having Brian Branch on the other side of it, that opens a lot of things up for your defense.
Yeah, I was reading some things on it, just listening to Ennis Rakestraw. I didn't know that he is 5'11". I don't know, for whatever reason, I had it in my mind that he was 6'1". I must be mixing up corners, but yeah, he's 5'11". So, and he's got good enough quickness to be able to play in the slot too. Like, he can keep up. Mike Hilton. Yeah. And that's
we have one in the chat too, don't we? A Mike Hilton.
I think we do. Yeah.
I just put that together too. I was like,
I think it's spelled with a Y. I think it's spelled with a Y.
Whole time the same dude.
Yeah. It's
Mike Hilton is in the chat.
But yeah, I mean, fellas, the Lions did make some moves though over the weekend. And just some bodies they're bringing in. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of wide receiver Caden Davis, but Booner, you might have got your answer. All right.
No, I looked it up, dude. No,
hold on.
I kept seeing these. I kept seeing all these moves, and in my head, should I tweet them out? Should I announce? These guys might not even make it through the first week of training.
Oh, but you got your wide receiver.
Let's not.
Caden
Come on,
Davis, Parker, tight end Parker, Hesse.
Boone.
Woo. I don't know. I mean, it's not. I would rather have Tom Kennedy on the squad than Caden Davis. In my opinion,
I actually didn't know who Caden Davis is. I didn't know who that was, and I had to look up Caden Davis and saw he actually played for the Panthers, which we will be at the home game, by the way, this weekend. All the boys.
Yes,
we'll be there Saturday to watch the great Jake Bates kick the football. But Caden Davis, hey, I don't know if he'll make the roster, but he's interesting. I think he did a lot of punt returns too. Played some special teams, so I don't know. They're bringing him in to compete. The player I'm the most excited about, if I'm being real with you, and I wanted to get to this eventually, is Isaiah Williams, because Isaiah Williams,
yes,
dude's been impressing a lot of people since he's been here, and he already talked about how he draws inspiration from Khalif Raymond and Amon-Ra St. Brown in terms of their work ethic. So he is motivated to work. Again, just because you work hard doesn't mean you're going to be one of the best, but he has the right mindset. And I think Isaiah Williams is going to surprise a lot of people. Fun fact, in the NFL, you'd be surprised how many players are undrafted that play in this league.
33% of the league.
Dude, it's a bigger percentage than many think. Undrafted, not saying every undrafted free agent is a dude, but there's certain you look at, right? Isaiah Williams got the most guaranteed money out of all the guys they signed, or one of the most. It's got to mean something, fellas. He would have been a draft pick. He wasn't. He's still got a lot of value in Isaiah Williams.
I think you could give Antoine Green a run for his money. I think both of them will make the roster, but as far as the depth piece, I think he brings a lot more just with his skill set as far as being able to put in the slot and in the outside than what Antoine Green can bring. I think Antoine's a lot more raw with better intangibles, but when you look at Isaiah, just his build, his route running, and what he did in college, I think he's a lot more of a complete receiver. So if he ends up sliding in front of Antoine at the end of the training camp, I would not be surprised whatsoever.
He was expected to be a fifth-round pick, I believe, was where he was supposed to go, and he drops and falls and doesn't get drafted. He was the second, and I know obviously the Big Ten isn't have SEC wide receivers or anything like that. He was the second best wide receiver in the Big Ten, though, behind Marv. Maserati Marv.
Roman Wilson was out there.
And he was the second best, like when it came to stats and everything. That's kind of what the word was with him in the Big Ten. So to me, I think there's a chance he goes out there and he can give you some sort of production. And it's just one of those things, like you said, 33% of the league is undrafted free agents. And why can't, especially when you come into a position, I stand on this all the time, especially even with late round draft picks, and why you see Brad kind of now hit on more is because some of these guys are coming into such a great position and a great franchise that's built. They have what they want. And if you come in and just do what the coaches tell you to do, like if you come in and do what Ben Johnson needs you to do, you might not go out there and have it a role like Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously. But if you're really great at your role, like people like when we talked about Josh Reynolds, like Gentry, how you went out Josh Reynolds about how he's been on so many teams and hasn't produced. But when he was in Detroit, he produced because he just went out there and said, I'm just going to do what Ben wants me to do. And what kind of my job is in this offense. If Isaiah Williams does that and comes in and just gives you something, he has the talent to go out there and play. You remember the first day we talked about him? He is very good at yards after catch. Guess who else is? Khalif Raymond, J-Mo, Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs. That's what this offense is. This is an offense built around yards after catch with Jared Goff. That is his specialty, and that's what he was so good at in college, in breaking tackles and all that. So I think he actually fits really well.
And do you think they could have, Lucas, this is really to you, since they didn't go out and sign a wide receiver, do you think this is the guy that they could have that type of confidence in to where they push those other guys away? I mean, obviously you talked about Antoine Green. He could maybe be getting pushed aside, but was he like their option, do you think, at wide receiver? Because he is one, like Boone said, he obviously went undrafted, but he was supposed to be drafted, and he does have a lot of things to his game that benefit the Lions offense, really.
I mean, I'm sure as of right now he is, because I mean, this is a run first team, and like Jeff's been preaching, and we all might not agree with him, but this is not really a glaring need. You're talking about wide receiver 5 or 6. So give the guy that you just paid a pretty sizable undrafted free contract, give him a chance, because if he does, then boom, you solve the problem. You don't have to bring in anybody else to learn the system. But if there's a training camp cut where there's a guy that we've been talking about to the likes of Zay Jones, as that tier wide receiver that gets cut during camp, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Brad's like, well, at least bring him in, give him a look, and then if he signs him, great. But as of right now, I'm imagining that that's their plan, is just sticking with Isaiah Williams and see what you can get out of him.
And fun fact about Isaiah Williams too, man, he was people coming out of high school, 4-star recruit, and he had
Kirby
offers.
Loves him.
Yeah, I mean, he had offers from Illinois. I believe he had interest from Clemson, Alabama, Auburn. Like, this isn't some like, hey, just some Illinois wide receiver. Like, he was looked at as a great prospect coming out of high school, and he chose Illinois. Like, he had an opportunity to go play at Alabama as well. Like, and you look at what he did at Illinois, and I know the first 2 years he was a quarterback. It was weird, but he came out and he was a wide receiver, and he played well. He got better every single year.
That's an advantage, though. Because I didn't know, if you're a wide receiver and you're a former quarterback, that is such an advantage, because you're so much more quarterback friendly, because you know what a quarterback needs when it comes to when you want to sit in zone coverage. Okay, where's a better spot? When it comes to release and just timing with everything, having a former quarterback play wide receiver, it's very, very beneficial.
Travis Kelce, wasn't he a former quarterback?
He was.
There we go. Isaiah Williams,
Ohio legend.
Isaiah Williams, future Hall of Famer.
Full Slate Farms. I think they're super high on Antoine Green. The way Brad talked on 97.1 the other morning. You see Steve Wilds, DPJ, and Jam will have more than adequately handle Reynolds snaps. Yeah, I see. Look at the
It does feel like, Jeff, I'm coming around to what you were talking about when it comes to DPJ and JMO, because when you hear, again, like we talked about this Friday, when you hear Brad Holmes speak about these things, it helps you feel a little bit better and get an idea of where their mind's at. And they've been really good, and they've been pretty spot on with guys. So like when they say, hey, JMO's taking a big step and he looks really, really good, and we think he's going to fill that spot. All right, I trust Brad. When he says DPJ is very underrated, and just because he hasn't done it the last few years doesn't mean he can't, and you put him in a spot in this offense, I trust Brad. And the same thing with Antoine Green. He thinks the Antoine Green development's going really well. I trust him. And now you add Khalif Raymond onto that and these other I trust Brad Holmes. So that's why I'm starting to come around a little bit on this wide receiver room. It's just, again, if they added someone, I'm not going to sit here and there we go, Brad. Now you're cooking over here.
See, that's
like DPJ is going to have a great year next year. It's going to be similar to Josh Reynolds. and people are going to forget that it ever even happened. All those people clamoring to bring him back because of the chemistry him and Goff have, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. DPJ is going to have just as big of a year as Josh Reynolds has. Obviously, it might take some time to reach that point, but it's not going to be that much of a difference having DPJ compared to Josh Reynolds.
The chemistry stuff, chemistry stuff
Here we go.
just drives me absolutely wild, because do you
Dude.
watch Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff? Do you watch Sam Laporta in year one with Jared Goff? Like, these guys are in sync. Like, there's only so much chemistry that you want until you just get, okay, now let's get some real deal, just breaking the game talent. And when you look at guys like, not saying DPJ is a game breaker, but he has those intangibles. Jamison Williams, I think we can all agree, is a game breaker. So it's like, oh, what's going to happen to the camaraderie of the passing game, the chemistry? What's going on? It's like, it was fine. It's going to be fine. Josh Reynolds, great C+, B- wide receiver. Those things grow on trees in the NFL. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you too.
Wow.
I want to get to some super chats. Nicholas Earl, he became a member for 3 months. He says, "Woo, baby,
Yeah.
JG 16, let's go." Thank you, Nicholas Earl. We appreciate
He's a
your
legend.
support. Yeah, absolutely. Steve Lehman, thank you for the $5. Says we're reserving our spot for the parade come February. Let's fucking go, boys.
We might be in the parade.
Yeah,
No.
Booner has
Lead
his
him
own
from the front, Booner.
Yeah,
In the front, the
yeah.
Booner Path float with a bunch of cool. I'll be sitting there like
Imagine a
it'll be
Booner
like a
pass.
life-size thing of Kool-Aid. I'll just be sitting there swimming in it, like just swimming.
Lions cheerleaders on the side.
Oh, dude.
Oh. And then we got Seth, who became a member for 3 months. Seth, we
Shout out
appreciate you
Seth,
too.
man.
He says, great show tonight as always with the
Here we
Kool-Aid. Gotta have the Kool-Aid. We appreciate it. Thank you, Seth. I see Pennywise like read my chat. Listen, we're not reading chats like that. All right, there's just no way. I'm not.
Penny is on one.
Yeah, we're not reading.
He's
we're
lucky.
not-
He's lucky. I'm still letting him in here speaking his truth.
Oh yeah, hey, you can say whatever you want, but
Yeah.
you can't just donate to say dumb shit. we can't just give you that attention. I'm sorry about that. But we do appreciate the donation. Thank you for that, Pennywise. I want to transition here. Did you guys see Adam Schefter put out the official regular season opener?
Yeah.
Ravens at
I
Chiefs.
know, but I thought of Boone. Boone, what were your thoughts?
Well, we knew that the Chiefs were going to be the opener because they won the Super Bowl. When we realized that was when it was like, all right, the only thing that the issue that I have, I just want to make sure the Lions are in prime time. That's all it is. When we found out, okay, the Chiefs are going to have the opening day Thursday, the Lions better have Sunday night football or Monday night football. That's better. That better be it. The only problem now, the Cowboys got released, them versus the Browns, so we're not going to be in Dallas. And then as soon as after I saw that, I tweeted out, oh, well, 49ers Lions confirmed Monday night football. Let's go. Is a joke. I guess George Kittle tweeted out an Instagram story of him and Aaron Rodgers saying, see you soon. So I think we're going to get Jets 49ers week 1. So the Lions are going to end up playing. I mean, they're probably going to do like the Rams. They're probably going to do like the Rams week 1.
It's fine, Boone. They're going to be playing like Jeff and I wanted. They're going to be playing a divisional opponent. They're going to smack up on them in week 1, get the confidence up, and they'll get a primetime game week 2.
No one wants to see that. Nationally, no one cares about that.
Who cares?
You want all eyes on Detroit. You want everyone watching. You want the
Lions starting
to be
off the season with a win in the division. Would make
they're
going to
win in the division.
happy.
Booner, you think
game. I don't give a fuck. Give me a W. That's all I want.
No one cares
Booner,
about
you
that.
think if they play Caleb Williams week 1, everyone's not going to watch his first game in the NFL?
Maybe.
Come on.
Maybe.
All right, I hate him too, Booner. But
I just like the NFC North. Like that's that's cool for us in Detroit. But I want the Lions to constantly be on the big stage in national media. That's all I want now. I want every primetime game. Put me week 1 versus the defending NFC champions. Give me the 49ers.
Do you remember the hype around the Bears and Packers last year, week 1?
No, I don't at all.
That was a big game. That was
I don't remember it one bit.
It was American game of the week.
Do you remember who won? Because I don't.
Packers.
Oh, I never knew. Had no clue. And we're in the NFC North.
So, all right, look at it from the league's perspective. If they want to make money, like they do all the time, and it doesn't matter what they could put on. I mean, hell, if I'm being real, even if they said, you know what, surprise everybody, regular season opener, we're doing Panthers and Saints, I'd be like, I'm watching. Like it's the NFL, man. I'm tuning in. But here's how they can capitalize off the Lions. I mentioned the Bears. and I know that it's the NFC North, right? Oh, only local people. No, number 1 pick, Caleb Williams. I think that's going to draw. You got the West Coast,
Roma
USC.
Dunze.
You got Cali. Okay, maybe a little bit of Washington. Roma Dunze. Maybe he plays a little bit.
Chargers
Obviously
fans
Chicago.
gonna be
You
watching
got. What'd you say?
Chargers fans are gonna be watching Keenan.
There you go. So that's how you make some money. Or another home game they could do is Rams. They could do Rams at Lions.
Do the Rams.
Because if we're
Go.
doing rematches, that's a rematch. That's a rematch. I mean, they played each other in the playoffs. You're doing Ravens Chiefs. Why not do Rams Lions? Fuck it. Open the season with it.
I think I would rather have them face the Bears than the Rams. I don't know about you guys. I would rather save the Rams.
I do not want to like. I have confidence the Lions would win that game, but if you're telling me they're not going to be on primetime, cool. Give me a game that you can just get the confidence rolling, starting off 1-0. Like
They beat the Chiefs last year. What more confidence do you need?
That's great. That's not guaranteed to happen again this year.
Who cares about a guaranteed win?
That happened.
Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed.
You're a Super Bowl contending team. You go out there and beat whoever's in front of you. You're talking about a guaranteed win or some Bears. Get out of here. No.
If you're a Super Bowl contending team,
you don't need a confidence boost as a
season off on a good foot.
No, you don't need. You did last year versus the Kansas City Chiefs. You won versus the Chiefs last year. Get out. Come on. What are we doing here? We don't need to. Let's get the easiest game out of the way so we can get we can feel good about it. No, go beat whoever's in front of you. You're going to beat all the teams anyways. Give me the Rams. Give me the Chiefs. Give me that 49ers. I don't care. What are we talking about? Give me the Bears so we get an easy win off to a good start. Go win week 1 no matter what. You're a contender. What are we talking about? Come on, Klotz, I love you. Klotz, I love you, but sometimes Booner Path, you're an executive on the Booner Path. These are the times where, as the leader, I had to say, Klotz, come here real quick. Let's lock in.
Hey. You may be
I
leader,
love you,
Boone, but you don't control this. You don't control this.
But I can influence it.
No
that was
buts.
a little bit.
There's no buts. There's no buts.
All right, so
I will say, if I'm being honest,
win week 1 no matter what. I don't care who you.
Even though I'd watch regardless, I'm not acting like those guys are like I'm not watching the NFL. The stuff they're showing, and they end up watching. I'm not going to do that. I'm always going to watch the NFL. I don't know if I'm loving the Vikings, dude. I don't know if that gives it an.
The reason I would just love the Vikings is just to throw. It's my personal preference. I would just love to see JJ McCarthy get thrown around. Nothing would make my soul.
Well, he
happy.
probably won't even play, so it'll be.
I would love to see Carlton Davis on Justin Jefferson. See how that experiment goes. I'd like to see how that defense does. J-Mo. I think I would like to see him against that just bland secondary they have cooking up over there. Harrison Smith is 38. So if you could get him on the season, just rolling, get J-Mo off the hot start. We saw what Jahmyr Gibbs did to them, Andrew Bynum specifically. I mean, I think the Lions offense, you just talk about his hot knife through butter. Rolling into week 2, give me that.
Oh, gosh. You're going to get Sam Darnold. That's what you want the anticipation. You want to get.
Do you remember what happened when we played Sam Darnold week 1 when he's on the Jets? Motherfucker, I'd love payback for that. That was a painful game.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, to be honest, at least for the opener. I don't know if the Chiefs play the Texans. That would have been a great match.
Oh, that would be great. Real quick, though, I don't want to cut you off. I don't know if you guys talked about this already, but Klotz, me and you were the ones in the argument last year when you were like, I would rather have the 2 seed than the 1 seed. And it's like just because you wanted a playoff win. That is ridiculous. That's the mentality that you have.
Strategies. We saw the strategies different, and at the end of the day,
they got the 3
seed, and it worked out.
Yeah, and I broke it down if they had the 2nd or 3rd seed, 4th seed, and the 1 seed, and once you were the one saying, let's take the 2 seed over the 1.
I've seen a lot of good teams over the years.
Imagine if you had the 1 seed versus the 49ers in Ford Field.
Right, I'd love to talk there, but all right, go ahead.
Come on, go Classy.
I was just saying the Lions were an inexperienced playoff team. For them to sit at home for 1 week and then expect to play a good team that has come off a playoff win, it made me way more nervous than just go in there and play the Rams right away. I think that was the best thing.
You just wanted a win. You weren't thinking long term.
I wanted a win.
Weren't thinking long term. You just want you were more content with 1 playoff win than going on a run.
That's
it felt
so
like
untrue. That is
so.
That's
what it
Hold
felt
on. Let me ask you this.
Well,
Let me ask you this. This year,
it wrong.
This year, 1 seed.
Klotz wants a 2 seed. You better not back off that argument. He wants a 2 seed.
Booner, now you're just getting emotional.
Dude, come on. All right, don't talk to me like I'm a child. We're having an argument here. Relax.
You just trolled me. I'm trolling you back, bro. Relax.
One seed still, Klotz? You're on that hill?
Yeah, why would I? When you look at how the NFC was playing, the 49ers just traded for Chase Young. I didn't think there was a way that they were going to get the 1 seed, which they did not. You could tell that the 49ers were going to get the 1. So it's like, all right, what's the next best situation? I'd rather play the worst team in the playoffs in the wild card round and move on and keep the momentum rolling. Sitting at home was not the ideal. Why are we even talking about this?
If you had the 1 seed, you're playing it in the NFC Championship at home. You beat the 49ers.
Who was it? You would have had the Packers, wouldn't you?
And you beat them.
The 49ers. I'm much more happier playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than the Green Bay Packers. That did work out.
No, I would have played the Packers. They would have beat anyone. They would have beat anyone.
They would have, but you cannot tell me that the Packers would.
They would have beaten anyone.
All right, we'll
anyone.
move on. For people that are a little confused, this is a debate that happened last year when the Lions were winning a lot of games. We had the debate 1 seed or not, and obviously most people preferred the 1 seed. Lucas maybe had a different perspective. He was like, "Hey, we were all wrong in terms of what the Lions are going to do, though. None of us, except for Booner and a lot of Lions fans, thought the NFC Championship game was on the horizon. But you didn't want the 1 seed because you wanted to face you wanted to whoop some team's ass.
Some people were content with 1 playoff win. Some people wanted the whole thing.
Well, it's not content. He just wanted a guarantee.
I mean, there's no that was the facts. That was the argument.
Lucas told me he literally said
Boonerverse. That was the fact.
Jeff, you were on the same thing. You were just content with 1 playoff win. Everyone.
What?
All right.
He's gone rogue. He's gone.
Yeah,
rogue.
Everyone. No, we're having a good conversation here.
No.
It's a good conversation.
All right. Let's move on here. We'll get to some of the chat. People are arguing about different things. I see a top 5 dictator list in here, which of course that has to be started by Adam, of course.
This is a horrible conversation. Oh, if Booner's no. Come on.
All right.
Relax.
Yeah, we're moving on. Let's see. Yeah, I see people talking about the Lucas's comments here. What do you guys at least preferred matchups if the Lions do? Give me like someone else besides the team you already named. Like if we're talking about preferred matchups for the opener, I already mentioned the Bears, Rams. I mean,
they got those sea pigeons in Washington on the schedule again, don't they?
I would love a rematch with the Seahawks, dude.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I would love to get that. I want Sam Howell, even though he won't start, but I want Sam Howell or Geno. But,
I've seen reports they're very high on Mr. Howell in Seattle right now.
High on him.
Let me ask you this: what was Geno Smith doing in his first 3 years or 2 years in the NFL? He wasn't sniffing Sam Howell's production.
Do you see they asked Geno about Sam Howell, and he's like, "What are you talking about? Like I'm starting."
I'm sure that's the purest form of insecurity. He knows who Sam Howell is. He knows.
Jesus, I would love a rematch.
The Texans would be fire, man.
Texans would be fire, like Booner said.
Shootout week 1.
Face who's in front of you. All right, you get the Texans, you deal with it, you go in there and whoop ass. That'll be on the road though. So
be a true test for that new secondary.
I hope for a home game week 1. My bad, Gentry.
No, that'd probably be one of the best tests you can get for the secondary off rip, facing CJ Stroud and his fully healthy wide receivers with the addition of Stephon Diggs.
I want to see that. And this is a really weird, like, competition thing. No one's really going to say, but I want to see Bobby Slowick versus Ben Johnson. I want to see those all. Those are 2 gurus, man. That would be chef's kiss. Trying to figure out each other's defense.
Be a fun game.
Yeah, I agree with Adam too. Texas will be great for Thanksgiving too. I mean, that would be a
big time.
I still want home. I want a home game on Thanksgiving. I mean, that's how it works, I believe, right? They get home.
The Lions always play at home on Thanksgiving.
I think they're on the road in Houston, so that's not how it works.
Yeah, that doesn't add up.
Something happened. Something at the beginning of time when the Fords. We got a home game on Thanksgiving every year, so hey, we'll take it.
Did a deal with the devil. That's all they wanted. Yeah. Hey, we'll get a home game Thanksgiving game, but we're going to be bad for 40 years. All right, deal.
Yeah. Well,
that was the football gods deal.
Yeah. Dat Boy Roy 2.0 is the contract for Goff justified if you win the Super Bowl to the people who hate the contract. Anything is justified when you win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, if you win a Super Bowl, yeah.
I mean, that's just how it works. So yeah, I would answer that question, Dat Boy Roy. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody would care if you win a Super Bowl. Shift God says, give me T-Law on Thanksgiving. T-Law versus Goff on Thanksgiving.
Buccaneers, they play the Buccaneers this year again, don't they?
I believe. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not. I think so. When we went through the schedule, which by the way, Wednesday the official schedule comes out, so we'll be able to break the games down by down or game by game, break them all down.
Down by down.
Yeah. Well, maybe dive into the games down by down.
All right, Jeff. I got to see what it's. Oh, it was the guy that said Booner had donuts. That's why we're not showing his comment.
No, what comment?
Oh, I thought you said Pennywise. We weren't showing his comments.
No. He Pennywise.
We showed that comment.
We value the support. We showed one of his super chats.
Show the comment, whatever it is, dude. Just show it so he can just.
You know what? Fuck it. All right. Oh,
Booner, you're hefty. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm hefty. Awesome.
Yeah,
Let's go 1v1. Tackle DN. Can't block me.
To be honest, I thought it was this one, but like, hey man, I weigh $170. I love jelly donuts, but fuck it. I don't care. Thanks for the $5. Show it every time. I don't care.
I'm about to go buy some donuts.
Thanks.
I'm not a huge jelly donut guy, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's like a hot take or anything, but
I prefer jelly over the fucking custard. That's for damn sure.
Oh no,
custard's way better.
Oh sure. No way, fellas.
Actually, I would go jelly over custard, if I'm being honest.
Jeff, you're lying.
No, I'm not a huge fan of custard.
Gross, man.
Yeah,
you're lying.
Hey, life's not fair, kid. I'm just not a.
Everyone can donate $5 and say I eat jelly donuts all day. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, do whatever. Pennywise says, "Yeah, I'll never donate again, bro."
I would like to meet Pennywise one day.
I just honestly, it is pretty impressive that you're willing to donate $5 just to
do that. Yeah, I mean it's great.
I love the dedication.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Helping support the fellas, helping me stay hefty. I appreciate it.
It's funny actually. Booner lost a lot of weight, to be honest with you.
So, hey, he's paying for my dinners though, so I appreciate it.
Yeah,
paying for my jelly donuts tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's fair.
Appreciate
Tim Hortons too. Tim Hortons donuts are great, by the way. Fresh.
Rashawn says, "Mailbag. Does anyone else you want to sign in for agency?"
I would still love Stephon Gilmore, even though we don't really need him.
I
would still love that signing.
Yeah, Quandre Diggs. That'd be cool. But, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
we really need him now, but that'd be cool.
Some depth, just some safety depth.
Yeah, that's what it is really now. Yeah, it's not like pounding the table for a specific free agent, but just depth, preferably.
I have seen this a lot. I've seen a lot of Justin Simmons on Twitter. People are like banging the table for him.
I don't know how he'd fit either, because he's another guy that plays like a very similar way to Kirby. I mean, I think Justin Simmons is better, but the money you're gonna have to pay him, I don't see how that fits.
Yeah. No, you guys put it well. Let's see. Patty Grimes, Mailbag. If Lions win the Super Bowl, will Jeff stop hating Brad Holmes?
Jeff, you are a hater.
The narrative themselves.
He's a Ryan Poles guy.
No, I don't hate Brad Holmes. I've done nothing but praise the man. So no, nothing needs to happen. If they don't win a Super Bowl, I'll still praise Brad Holmes.
GM argument too.
Because I had him a spot behind John Schneider. Had him 5 or 6. But no, I love Brad Holmes, so I don't really know how to answer that. Let's see. Stephen David. Oh, actually, no. We got one more ahead of him. ETS. Yes. Mailbag top 3 matchups.
Gentry.
What?
Gentry was excited for that question. He goes, yes.
We'll get to it. ETM Mailbag top 3 matchups we're looking forward for the Lions. We kind of said it. Chicago. Houston.
In Chicago, I'm very.
In Chicago, Rams, Houston.
That's top 3 matchups Rams. For the whole year, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm assuming so.
I just answered the question. I mean,
49ers.
Oh, 49ers.
Yeah.
Cowboys. They've been struggling so much in Chicago. Just with all these teams, that's such a big game for them in the division. I just their biggest games to me are like the games that are going to show whether or not they're contender, like legit or not. And I think that's going to be like the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Texans. I think those 3 games are like biggest 3 games of the season. Those are the best teams. Those are teams that are contending for a Super Bowl. How do they play against them? Because last year, remember the Ravens game? Super Bowl contending team. You go out there and you get beat by 40. Shit was horrid.
Yeah, the 49ers I'd put in there. So I'm with you. Stevie David Mailbag, we're dying to know who you think the Pistons are taking at 5. Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a rumor, Bronny out there. I've heard that rumor.
Yeah, if anyone ever said Bronny, they don't have any brain cells. But I would personally, I already have a video on our channel what I think they should do with the 5th overall pick. But if they stay put, you're probably taking Matas. Jesus, man, there's no shooters. Like unless you're taking Dalton Connect out of Tennessee, but he's like a 6'6" like wing. Wouldn't be a bad option. I'm not in love with the guys at 5.
You're out on Bronny?
I like Bronny, but come on. Whoever says he drafted him at 5, you're psycho.
Is Troy going to cook?
No comment. They have to bring in a president of basketball operations, which assuming they will fire Troy Weaver. So I don't think it'll be Troy cooking. I think he will be cooked.
Will they be able to find a president of basketball operations? I've heard
it's been rumored the Minnesota Timberwolves president of basketball operations, Tim Connolly, who was formerly with the Denver Nuggets, he signed a 5-year, $40 million deal with the Timberwolves. Maybe the Pistons could lure him away. Tom Gore's, it's already been reported he's interested in paying upwards of $50 million for him. So if you can get Tim Connolly, I'm interested. He'll fucking clear out this entire damn front office.
Tim Connolly, by the way. The Tim Connolly thing, I watched videos on him this last, like his past. That man, they need to pay that man as much as he needs to be to come. He doesn't count against the cap. He's gone to back-to-back organizations and taking them to like a different level instantly.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
Give him $100 million a year. Pay some money. You want to win or do you not want to win? That man, it's guaranteed you win.
Tom Gores has shown us, say whatever you want about him, but he's showing us he'll spend money. So, I'm sure that
he just won't fire people that ruin the team.
But here's the funny thing about Matas, who's projected like top 7 pick. He's a 6'10" wing, played in the G League. He's from Chicago. Guess who his agent is?
Oh, don't do this.
Last name ends with Tellum.
Yep.
Oh God.
So
I'm Tellum's son, right?
Keep that in mind. Hey,
I don't want him
right now.
I
Clip
don't
this
want
right
him.
now. If Matas is the pick, Jeff told you, May 13th on a Monday.
Anyone that has any relationship with Tellum, we're out. So did Killian Hayes, and didn't they? Like all these guys did. I'm out. Anyone would tell him, I'm out.
Yeah. Doesn't that guy shoot like 30%? We got Killian Azor 2.0. Bring him home.
They need space brigade.
Fuck it. Just get me out there. I'll shoot 30%.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Well, we'll dive into the draft more. I mean, I plan to go live during it, unfortunately, or fortunately, if you want to watch. So,
I'm gonna be live with you, brother.
Okay.
I'm there. I'm in it. We're going.
Adam says Mailbag early record predictions. I think we already gave ours out. I said I'll go 12-5 again.
Yeah,
13-4.
I was fighting in between 11-6 and 12-5, and I just gave the friendly nod to 12-5.
Yeah, I think they go
12-5 too.
I'll go 13-4, fellas.
Let's see. I see some. I specifically want to get to Pennywise's comment because it is funny. Michael Lucci's Mailbag, is Brad rolling over the majority of the $23 million in effective cap, or is one more big move coming? I mean, to be honest, Michael, I guess that's what it's like being or covering the Detroit Lions with Brad Holmes. It's like, I don't know. A big move could be coming. I would say, in my opinion, he's probably rolling it over just for different situations, given, hey, maybe a midseason trade
deadline,
keeping some money available. I don't think a big move's coming, guys.
I don't
with Brad, who knows?
Essentially, too, with the Jared Goff deal, it sounds like, at least from what people are saying, that there's going to be some added cap to that based off of it. So I think, to be honest, I think they might make a move or two. So not big moves, but they're going to sign some guys, I'm sure, still to fill out the roster.
Streams only Mailbag. Do we have some room? Do we still have room for Bates on the 90-man? Yes. And they can cut James Turner, I'll tell you that. So kicker out of Michigan. So I hope they do sign Jake Bates. We'll get to watch him this Saturday kick. So
Boone's going to try and recruit him.
Oh, I'm going to make sure. Yeah.
Is that true? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we're having a conversation.
Rumor has it.
They not in the media. We're not not as media. Potentially after the game, and we catch him in the parking lot. Hey.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Probably won't be able to, huh?
Pennywise says, "Will Jeff get a better lunch lady haircut?" No, I kind of like this lunch lady haircut. To be honest with you.
The curls looking fabulous today, Jeff.
No, it actually looks pretty rough, but appreciate it, Lucas.
Okay.
No, I am keeping the lunch lady haircut.
More, brother.
Sorry about that, Pennywise. It's just how it is.
It's fair.
It's fair. All right, let's get to some more mailbag. I see Adam going off. I didn't know someone actually said that Bronny should be the 5th overall pick. That's wild. Yeah, I cannot believe that.
He hasn't done anything, has he? He was about to transfer to Ohio State from USC.
He's done something.
Just nothing. A whole lot of
No,
nothing.
he's just LeBron's kid. That's something, right?
Because you guys know basketball a lot more than I do. Like he's like when I watch him, like this guy's not gonna be anything in the NBA. Am I off on that?
He's gonna be like Pat Bev. That's I think the pro comp that I've heard. It's like he's gonna play defense and be like a hard nosed player.
Dude, he's not even gonna do that. He's like 6 foot tall. He averaged like 3 points a game. He's only getting to the NBA because of his dad. He's gonna fucking suck. Bookmark it. Clip it. I don't give a shit. Come back to it. I don't care. He's not gonna be good. If you draft him in the 1st round, you're probably Troy Weaver and you suck at your job.
No. Don't do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't draft him in the 1st round.
Troy Weaver-esque if you pick Bronny in the 1st round. You are brain dead.
Yeah. And Bronny was, dude, he was coming out of high school. He wasn't a bum. I mean, that dude was one of the best players in the country. So take away, let's say his name was Bronny Smith. Bronny Smith. Take out the James. I would tell Bronny Smith, go back to college, play a year. You know, he's dealing with the heart condition thing that took him out of basketball. Like, go back to college. But with his last name's James. So a team will draft him. And I think it'll be the Lakers, either drafting him in the 2nd round or giving him a 2-way, but he will be in the NBA. I don't think it's a good idea. He should return to college. He should. He needs more reps, playing more minutes. But I do. He's like 6. I think his measurements came in at like 6'1.5" without shoes. So he's probably like 6'2", a little over 6'2".
Sounds like Klotzy.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
are you 6'2", Klotz?
Yeah, with shoes on. Probably like 6'1.5" without him. I'm a little taller than 6'1", but I don't think 6'2".
6'1".
Draft Bronny at 5 if you get LeBron next season.
Jeff, I know we're in mailbag, but I do have a question.
Jeff would say yes. Jeff would.
Yeah. Well, honestly, fuck it. Fuck it, dude. All right, go on. No, I'm kidding. All right, go on.
But how much, just because I see there's a Cade conversation going on in the chat, how much worse would the Pistons be if they traded away Cade?
I mean, it's tough because Cade, last season specifically, I know it was rough. So I know this is a tough argument to make because he played, but he kept a lot of those games competitive on his own. So I'm not saying that if he wasn't there, they'd win no games, but he is the player I have the most confidence in to be a superstar, to be a star at the very minimum. So yeah, they would be worse without Cade. Like, you need Cade to blossom into hopefully an all-star, all-NBA player. I think he has a lot of the tools to become that. But if he does, and you acquire a big Pro Bowl all-star free agent or some all-star, I talked about Brandon Ingram 2 days ago. Him and Cade, or someone in Cade, can be a great tandem. Like, I believe in Cade, and I think Duren has a lot of potential. But I'm more sold on Cade. He's already shown it. He just has to stay healthy. I mean, it's really the only thing with Cade. It's like, if he can stay healthy, great. Like, I do not agree with this. You have to trade him and reset the project. Like,
they better not reset the project.
Yeah, I don't agree with trading
Cade. That to me would be like, that's when I would be like, sell the team. Like, that is very dumb to do. You can't do that. You just can't do that. You finally get a player as a franchise player, and people want to, well, how does he impact it? Dude, no, it's not how it works. And I think that would actually be
I'm confused
one
why
of
people
the
think Cade
dumbest
isn't.
things I think any GM could realistically do, to be honest with you. Like, there's a lot of things, and trust me, I've been hard on the Pistons, but that would be stupid as hell.
Yeah.
What's the argument about like trading him? Why would you get rid of
just
Cade?
playing devil's advocate, I'm imagining it's because they're at rock bottom with their best asset. You're not going to be going up anytime soon. So get the most that you can with that. So you can, It's just
No.
hard because obviously I'm outside a little bit more than you guys are, but I don't ever see them staying with Cade being able to produce a winner. Like I feel like there's got to be, and I obviously could be wrong.
So
if you trade Ivy and Duran, I feel like you would single-handedly get a bigger haul if you trade away Cade. No,
you probably get a bigger haul. Yeah, like to me though, it's like, okay, if you don't think Cade's a superstar and he's the number one option, you can still keep him here, and he can be one of the best number two options in the league. Like the NBA isn't built off just one guy being great.
That's what people have to understand. I think people have in their mind like LeBron, and it's like, oh, if Cade can't lead this team to 40 wins on his own, what are we doing? Look at the roster that has been constructed around Cade Cunningham. Like, please, and then get back to me and then give me your opinion, because that matters. Look at the Timberwolves. Look what they've built around Anthony Edwards. It matters. And now Anthony Edwards is another tier. He's on he's a potential face of the NBA. But to say like, oh yeah, that dude's not a franchise guy, is okay. He's not Anthony Edwards. He's not Victor Wembanyama. Dude, he's still one of the young up and coming players. Like I don't think you need just looking at a guy and be like, oh, it's not your franchise guy. You can still. How about you trade Jaden Ivey? How about you trade anybody else but Cade? That's how I would look at it. Like, there's only one player that I'm building around. That's Cade Cunningham. Build around him, please. Get shooting. Like, no. And by the way, Adam, use your fucking head. Get a top player. Oh, let's trade Cade for him. Yeah, a GM's going to give you SGA or someone top for Cade. I mean, come on, dude. It's better. There's more value there to keep him. Trade anybody else. Trade anybody else. Ivy, there's a ton of value there as well. But yeah, no, you're not trading Cade. I don't think no, you sign him to an extension. You keep him around. This franchise has not gotten players like that since I've been alive. Drafted. Keyword, drafted. They've had it. 2000s were great. I was very spoiled. But come on. No, you're not resetting the project. Because who's making the project? Troy Weaver. So you're fucked either way. So you're not trading him. No, absolutely not.
No, in my opinion, you have to trade 2 out of the 3, being Ivy, Stu, and Duran. Duran can't play any defense. Stu is glorified after running after LeBron James, when in all reality, on any other team, he's probably an 8th player on the bench. And then Jaden Ivey just doesn't fit with this Pistons team. So 2 out of those 3 guys need to be moved for a package like Brandon Ingram, like you did set, or someone else along that line. They need to get a winger that can shoot. You can't draft any more guys that shoot 30% from the field. I love what Asor brings on defense and on the rush, but other than that, he doesn't bring too much offensively, and you have a lot of guys that are so strapped offensively on the team. You need to get Cade with some shooters, and the Ivy experiment isn't working out. You need to capitalize on him now and get something for him.
Yeah, this is okay. Hold on, no. I'm not letting him get away with this. This is just him being an idiot. All right, Adam. Oh, this makes me sad. Classic Jeff, super wrong in the Pistons take. Oh, that Cade's a good player. I think this is where I think Adam has gotten to, and that's fair. I get it. He's emotionally damaged, but there are a lot of Pistons fans that have had to endure what they've had to endure. So now they're mentally just shattered and broken. So now let's trade everybody. Let's take a step back. Let's look at this realistically. Why the fuck would I trade the player on my roster, looking at it from a GM perspective, that's the closest to being a star? He averaged 23, 5, and 7, shot 36% from 3, 45% from the field, damn near almost 90 from 3. From the free throw line. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, it's not about sucking off a player. I'm giving you data. Dude, I think Jeff, if you brought that up, like if Adam walked into a room and there was, let's just put all GMs in the NBA in one room, and Adam walked in, had a little microphone, and was like, listen, guys, I have a proposal. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I'm just bouncing ideas. If I'm the Pistons, I'm trading Cade Cunningham. They'd be like, is this guy fucking stupid? Like, what are we doing here? Trade Ivy? Trade anyone else? Who cares? Do it. Why would you trade the only hope you got? For what? Well, I mean, for what? And then what? We got to go draft another guy like Cade? Come on,
you
dude.
Can't even get a top pick.
You're trading Cade to draft a player like Cade?
Yeah. Well,
the lottery, by the way, which you've been fucked the last 3 years? I mean, come on. What are we doing here, fellas?
This is what it is. In the NBA right now, and Adam, listen
What's
closely.
The plan? Oh, we're going to sign a free agent. He's going to come to Detroit. Oh, yeah. Teams
hold
are,
up.
the guys are clamoring to come here. Let's spend money, guys. What are we doing? I mean, think about this logically. That's sorry, Booner, but what are we doing here?
No,
You're
I'm
not
trying to be.
signing
I'm trying to real quick. Let me explain this to Adam real quick, because it'll make it easy. You don't win in this league with 1 or 2 players anymore. You need 3 stars. You need 3 elite players. When you already have one, you don't get rid of them. You get rid of the guys that can't be elite players. Jaden Ivey can't do it. Jalen Duren can't do it. Isaiah Stewart can't do it. Trade them. Add another elite player, and now you're on your way. To trade Cade is just unbelievable. It's stupid. It is stupid. You're trying to add as many elite players in the NBA as you can on your team. That's the way this game works nowadays. Trade those guys and give someone else to Cade. That's how this league works.
How about you get him shooter?
You don't restart.
And this comment I don't get. Who's actually doing something that we want to trade? Because none of us want to trade Cade, and realistically, that's probably the only person that's making this team better nightly. Jalen Duren is not. Jalen Duren does not play any defense. Jaden Ivey shot terrible for a majority of the season. Isaiah Stewart missed lots of parts of the season and was inconsistent besides, I would say, like 1 month down the stretch. But none of those guys are end-all, be-all guys. You could trade all 3 of them.
Yeah, and that's I don't know. I don't understand that. Adam's point, like reset the rebuild, like oh my god,
you already have a player in the building.
Yeah, you're resetting a rebuild to get a player that you're trading away, or we'll just get like a Victor Wembanyama. Well, good luck in the lottery, buddy. Awesome. Good luck there. You land 5 the last 3 fucking years. Oh well, no. We're gonna do it via trade. We're going to trade a great for Giannis or a bunch of draft capital. Because here's the thing. Adam's argument is he's played and he's missing 20 games a season. So what are you trading him for, buddy? If he's missing 20 games a season. So on you're going to have your cake and eat it too. He's missing 20 games a season. You have to trade him, but a team will trade for him. It's the same. I think Neil does that all the time. It's like, if you want to trade the pick, who wants the pick? It's like you can't say it doesn't make any sense, but I still love him. Hey, we got to get out of here. God damn it, you triggered me. All right. We'll see you guys. Don't trade Cade Cunningham, please. I don't want to endure another decade of losing. At least with Cade, you're a step closer. That's Lauri Markkanen.
I'll be happy.
Okay, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Follow too.
All right, you know what? Lauri Markkanen's good though, but no, you're not trading him for Lauri Markkanen.
Hey,
all
Jeff,
right,
I said we should trade for Lauri at the deadline last year.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right. See you guys. Have a good night. Go Lions.
Love you guys.
Sometimes.